I think the development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 6, 3, 2, 9, 7.
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange.
And I'm your co-host, Ash the Reptilian.
From Mars.
From Mars.
Oh yeah. And we'd like to say hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. All right, guys, you know the drill. This show's live, so if you want to be a part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's the phone number. We'll put it up as we go. Join the Discord at troubledminds.org, the official website. Click the link on the top right. The phone number's there as well. And, yeah, we do it live because we want to include you. We'll read the chat. We'll do shout-outs. We'll do news tonight. And what do we have on deck? We've been promising to talk about Virginia a little bit in that World War III situation, the Civil War business, the gun control. We're going to do a little bit of that tonight. If you get sick of it, we got some other really good shit on deck. So we'll start with that. We'll do some really, really weird alien out there shit, because that's what you got to do, right? That's what you got to do. That's what part of the show's about. And then we're going to do some... that's totally it, right? And then... if we have time, we'll get into some updates on Skinwalker Ranch, which is there's some crazy stuff going on with Skinwalker Ranch if you guys haven't been paying attention. So if you're not, no problem. We're paying attention for you, and that's why we're here to talk about it. And if you found yourself here in a weird situation and have no idea how you got here, and you're asking yourself, what the hell is this? Well, this is a radio show, an internet radio show, and we talk about all the things we're not supposed to talk about, which, of course, is the conspiracies, which is aliens, which is the paranormal, which is the 24-hour news cycle and propaganda, and all this stuff, right? We talk about all the things that they don't want us to talk about. And how do I know they don't want us to talk about it? Well, we're shadow banned in a lot of places, for one. But two, if you turned on the news and they were talking about the things we were talking about, well, then it would be allowed, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Every channel I turned on today, I got impeachment. Did you see any? Do you watch any TV, Ash? You probably don't, do you?
I have this weird condition where whenever that comes on, I just instantly pass out. So,
okay.
You know, I just can't. No one cares. Wasn't
cares.
it like that on Jeopardy? They had there was a Jeopardy question. Who is Adam Schiff? And the people weren't able to answer it. Asked the question. That's crazy. Yeah, so I guess people don't really care anymore.
That tells you how much. Yeah, Nobody really gives a shit. Nobody gives a Mr. Schiff. So,
Oh,
all
that's a
right.
good
So there you go. That actually that concludes our impeachment coverage for the day. So there you go. We're not going to do that because everybody else does that. So we're not doing that. We're not going to do that. So we're going to do some other stuff. Again, we'll do shout outs. If you want to shout out, type in the chat where you're listening from and or where you're watching from, and we'll call you out. But let's do that. Anything else, Ash, before we get this started? Before we kick this show on the road?
No, I'm excited. Let's get into it. We have some crazy stuff on deck. This is gonna be a good one.
Okay, let's do it. I'm excited as well. All right, here we go. Tony gets first on Facebook. How you doing, buddy? He says, how's it going? I missed in the last 2 shows. My apologies. Hey, man, you're allowed. You're allowed. Thanks for coming back. Fred, what's up? How you doing, man? Let's see. Tony says I got the boot, but I'm back. Oh, I see. Did you get Facebook jail? Yeah, that happens. What's up, Rawhide? Thanks for being here. Eric from Pittsburgh. How you doing, buddy? Kelly, how you doing? Nanu. Dale, sup strangeness. How you doing, my man? Larry, hey all. Ash, we got a good show coming up. He says, what's up, Ash? How you doing, buddy? We got fat ones. This is a good comment. Got to read this. We have a really good photo taken over California last night. My brother took of 6 very strange objects on the page. Please check it out. Has anyone else reported a sighting last night? If anybody has seen some weird stuff in California, let us know. It would help Fat Ones if you want to let us know if it's Northern California, Southern California. That's a really big state. So just FYI, if anybody's seen that pretty good stuff, and if you haven't, join the Discord and you can share it in there. So everybody,
please do.
Please do. We'd love to see it. It's a little harder to share from Facebook, outside of Facebook, et cetera, so on. So anyway, what's up, Luke from South Carolina? How you doing, buddy? Alberto, how you doing? Ingrid, hola. Elizabeth, hey, howdy, troubled minds. How you doing? Thanks for coming. Let's see. Ingrid says, I saw a line of lights over my house last week. Did anyone see anything similar? I did not. Did you, Ash? Line of lights?
It might have been me. I was picking up some alien beer, like. That's crazy. Hey, go ahead. Yeah.
Just swinging by the earth to pick up some cattle, like.
Oh yeah.
One of these, one of those,
On the black market, they go for a lot. Burgers are plentiful here here in America, but not really in space. So, but it is crazy that there's a lot of UFO sightings this year already. Right? It's pretty nuts. I'm hearing something like every other day, like an article or someone saying something. I don't know. Maybe the Space Force is kicking up.
Yeah, definitely. And if you guys have UFO pictures, please put them up. I see everybody chatting about that. Put them up on join the Discord. Share them in there. There's a lot of people sharing stuff in there. So there we go. We got Mitchell. What's up? First show from Cumberland, Wisconsin. Thank you. Thank you for joining us at Troubled Minds here. Fat One says by LAX. So that's Los Angeles. They're taken right off the highway. Spencer, what's up? Hello from Ontario, Canada. We love our Canadians. Let's see. John, have a PBR for you. I'm drinking PBR. You got it, man. This one's for you. Eric, how you doing? Gary from Diamond, Illinois. We got Christian PBR again. Ingrid says, I'm in Cali, high desert. Nice. And we got Carlos on YouTube. Yeah, quiet over there on YouTube. But otherwise, we're hopping tonight. We are hopping tonight. And let's see. Alex, what's up? I see UFO almost every day. Get us some pictures. We'd love to see that stuff. Okay. You're right? Is that you, Ash? Joy riding down there? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I have a path I go every time to go to the, space gas station. So maybe it's right over his house. He's like thinking he's having some sort of religious experience. I'm just getting, drunk.
Just picking up the cow, picking up the cattle mutilation. All right. Let's go to the news again. If I missed you guys and you want to shout out, just type where you're watching from, and we'll call you out. And again, if you want to be on the show, we are live. So 702-957-1037. You can join the conversation, which the conversation starts now. Check this out. BBC News reported this. Now this is amazing. I thought this is pretty freaking hilarious. Being a conspiracy theory type talk show thingamajigger, this is amazing. I'm linking it so you guys can check out the links as always. But the title reads like this: France apology after history textbook links CIA to 9/11.
Ooh.
How good is that? Is that good? Did you see this one, Ash? What the hell is this, right?
That's a lot to take in a freaking, 7-word title.
Yeah, exactly. Suddenly, right? So this is reported by the BBC again, like I said. But so here we go. The sub-headline: a French publisher has apologized after a history textbook that appeared in bookshops in recent weeks suggested the September 11, 2001 attacks were probably orchestrated by the CIA.
Oh, wow. Wait. So what's France's involvement? I'm a little confused.
It's just
CIA,
a
right?
yeah. So no, so some publisher in France has published this textbook, a history textbook, and in the history book that's going to go to students at exactly in school, it says that the CIA probably orchestrated the September 11 attacks. Now we know, like we haven't done an in depth on 9/11. It's one of those things that get you taken down from the internet, right? Like you kind of don't want to do too much about this, but I thought it was too good to pass up when I saw this headline, and it's like, wait a minute. So in France, some other publishers so what is that? Is that like a hit job on the United States, or is that is that the truth? Is the truth eking out over there? I have no idea, right? If I had the answers, we just tell you the answers. But what do you think? There's just some portion of truth there without going into too much detail, Ash?
Yeah, I don't know. 9/11's one of those sore subjects, right? But I mean, didn't the CIA what was that Tom Cruise movie where they were which I watched, by the way, just like a couple weeks ago? It was really good, but it was basically the CIA was peddling dope, right? They were funding it, and they were kind of playing both sides of the fence. That's mainstream knowledge. Is that stuff in the textbook? What? How much do we opt out of history where we kind of rewrite it to be more PC? You know what I'm saying? It's do we just write down all the good stuff? We don't write down that kind of thing, or
I think that's the problem. That's the problem. Yeah. So like when you learn history in school, it's like at least in general school, not going to, a university to be a historian type of thing. Of course you go further in depth, but you definitely get the Cliff Notes version of history, right? And there's so much nuance in history that what gets left on the cutting room floor of a textbook. And in this case, they're like, hell no, the CIA orchestrated this shit. We're putting in the textbook. So I think it's hilarious. And I think these are the types of things that maybe should be in textbooks, or maybe not. maybe not.
They should get that one governor. What's that guy's name? Oh, he's not crazy, but he was ex-military. He was also a wrestler who became governor. Oh, what is that guy's name?
Jesse Ventura, man. Jesse Ventura, yeah.
Jesse Ventura should write his own section or commentary on everything in history books. That'd be so amazing. Imagine you're scrolling through and it's on the side you see Jesse Ventura's face with a little proverb for the CIA murdered 3,000 people.
They started with JFK. Yeah. I mean, they ended with 9/11. You know what I mean? This is exactly the thing, right? So they always say education is the hallmark of a nice brainwash. Actually, I just made that up. Nobody really says that, but I just said that. But it's definitely the truth, right? Did it sound like somebody said that before I just said it?
Yeah, hopefully. I was convinced. Had me.
As long as you're convinced. A few more shout outs. What's up, Christian? Thanks for showing up. We got Steve. Thanks for being here. We got, who else? Jeremy. Good evening from Slidell, Louisiana. How you doing? Never heard of that place. Louisiana, yes. Slidell, no. Awesome. Gabe, how you doing? Carol from Sunbury, Ontario. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Chris, what's up? Hello from Georgia. Benjamin, Happy New Year 2020. You're late, man. You are extremely late. What's up, Joe? How you doing, my man? Mitchell, how you doing? Yeah, Jesse the Body Ventura. They're chiming in chat there. There you go. Jesse the Body. Yep. So that would be amazing. I agree. The footnotes. That's okay. The footnotes. The footnotes of Jesse the Body. In was he the Body? Jesse Ventura. I don't know. They have so many wrestling names. They change them too, right? They go good guy. They go bad guy. They change the name to this. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I stopped following that when I was 11, just FYI. But I do know who he is. Okay, so here we go. All right. So France apologizes after linking the CIA to 9/11, which is I thought that was pretty much all you need to know. We could read some more of this, but I don't want to stoke the fury of the technocracy or whatever. So there we go. All right. So what do you guys think about that? France apologizes for linking CIA to 9/11 in a history textbook. Holy shit. So if you got comments on that, leave them in the chat or give us a call, 702-957-1037. But let's do the next one. This one's yours, Ash. This is reported by hackread.com, and the title is, These Smart Contact Lenses Equip Your Eyes with Augmented Reality. What the hell is this?
So I worked for, disclosure, I was a software engineer in Silicon Valley, posing as a human for a while. And I worked for an augmented reality company that went out of business eventually. And it was pretty cool. We got to like work with like Blizzard and all that kind of stuff. But the big problem that we had was adoption, because what are we going to augment? Like, so we created phone apps, and so you point your camera, I mean your like phone camera at the wall at a painting, and then the painting would come to life, and you could like pivot around the painting, and it would be like in the frame, so it looked like good. It didn't look like crappy, and that was like 6 years ago. So, but the problem we had was adoption. Like, so people would do it, it'd be a gimmick, and then that'd be it, because you have to download the app and all that stuff. So this kind of takes it to the next level. So this is Mojo Vision, a startup based in Saratoga, California, has designed the first true smart contact lenses of the world with the smallest and densest dynamic display ever made. The Mojo lens comes with an extensive range of AR-enabled display statistics, such as health tracking. It has a very flexible AR power display, and the screen is so tiny that the eye cannot properly see it. It is a product of years of research, development, tons of patents. It's at the moment, it's still in infancy, but they're working on a prototype right now. So it may be a while before it's actually done. Some cool things about the Mojo Vision calls its smart contact lenses a breakthrough product. The prototype provides a real-time light enhancements, contrast, along with a bunch of other pretty cool features like zooming and stability, like shaky cam. They can fix that with your own vision. So some pretty cool stuff that could be on the horizon. And a little interesting note about this thing is that it's not powered. There's no battery on board. It's powered by a small external battery that, let me get this right, that handles the sensor data to and transmits it to the display, which Sinclair is a method called invisible computing. Through this technique, the lenses offer instant information and let people interact freely and genuinely with each other. So I guess the power source is not board, it's like in a third party, and then so is the data. So you can kind of have like a server, so you and I could be looking at each other and we're streaming off the same data. So anyway, I thought that's pretty cool. What do you think about that?
This is creepy as hell. All right, so you put this over your eyeballs is what this is, and so it allows you like a heads up display and also like augmented reality situations as well. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah. So imagine a future where like you flip these things in. Let's say we all have them in. That means there's no more signs. You don't need signs anymore, not physical ones. There would be like official, like government sanctioned signs that you would see with your like augmented reality eyes. Or let's say you're using GPS driving, you could see a line going through the road of where you need to go next. So like things like that, or you could zoom in, or it would, as your vision decays, it would improve your vision. It would adjust, right? So get maximum vision performance. You could take pictures, all the kind of scary shit from that one Black Mirror episode.
Oh, okay. I remember that one. So it's kind of like Google Glass, but it just fits over your eyeball, right?
Yes. Yeah. And so you can augment anything. Like I could put artwork on my wall and put it to the server, and you would see it when you walk in, but I don't actually have to put anything on the wall. So
I see. But it would be transmitted through my fake eyeballs that I'm wearing and would be on my wall, right? So it would be your artwork could be on my wall only with my eyeballs in, my fake eyeballs in.
Yeah.
I take them out, it disappears.
Yeah, it would just be like, just like stain on the wall or whatever, however your place looks. I'm not assuming that it looks that bad.
No.
But
Hey, easy. Hey, are you spying on me? What the hell's going on here? Come on, man. Come on.
Remote viewing your place.
Shit, stop that. Stop that. It's creepy. All right, I've got a couple more shout outs here. What's up, Sam from Jacksonville? How you doing, my man? We got Benjamin. I hate my neighbors for turning on the lights outside on purpose. Hey, that's me. I just turned my shit on. Hey, what's up, man? Howdy, neighbor. Let's see. What else? We got Addie's Bike Garage. How you doing? He said, I think YouTube erased my "Let's poop on China" comment. Yeah, let's shit on China. We don't do that. Well, we're not doing that tonight, but stay tuned because we'll do it in the next show. I promise. Hold me to that. Okay, so yeah, this is creepy stuff. All right, so this is so what happens when this thing becomes let's say for instance, go to that Black Mirror episode, right? where they had like it's like this was basically the social credit score, but it was done through some sort of Instagram or some sort of thing like this, where people gave you marks up or marks down based on your conduct in public, right? That whole deal. So this could become that, right? It could be the portal to the digital. What would you call it? The pixelated world that we don't really live in, but we're creating for ourselves, right? That's weird, creepy.
One step into the technocracy or whatever. I don't know.
Technocracy. The technocrats. You got it.
Yeah. One step toward being the Borg. You know what I'm saying? Like one step from being human and one step toward being the Borg.
Right. So, in a less obtrusive package. we don't need no barcode on our neck with the mark of the beast. We just put these fake eyeballs in. We'll just do that instead.
You don't want to beam power and data in your freaking eyeballs so you can I don't know, see things?
No. Not unless I can do that Superman business where I just like heat shit up and burn it with my eyeballs. That'd be amazing. When that's online, let me know. Okay, what's up, Larry? Thanks for showing up. I see you on YouTube there. Okay, so anything else on this, Ash, or any chat or any? This is crazy. This is where we're headed, guys. This is it. The mark of the beast is now the eyeballs that you're going to put in over your regular eyes, I guess. Yeah.
All I have to say is, so they released the Google glasses a while ago. Remember those things?
Yeah, and, I had one for a minute, actually. I did.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
You nerd. I'm just jealous.
Yeah.
I think actually the augmented reality thing was cool because I got to work with it. It was actually, but some guy, some like nerd more, and it's okay to be nerdy, guys, but if you go into a bar with your freaking Google glasses on, you're recording people, you're asking for it. And one guy got like knocked out in San Francisco, like within a week of these things launching. So it didn't really take so long.
Yeah, so it's fine. It's fine if the government and then the major corporations. That's fine if they spy on us and they take all our data, right? But God forbid that one dude walk into the bar that one day for that like 10 minutes that you're there with him. Boy, knock that fool out! I tell you what, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, no. As long as it's going to some government server, I'm okay with it. No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Not a personal server. Who knows what I'm gonna do with that data when I get home? You know what I mean? Oh, geez. Chris says download pop-up blocker now.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Yeah, exactly. You're like, shit, I can't see. I'm driving, I can't see. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not good. Okay, all right. So there we go. This is coming. This is coming to a dystopia near you, and we just happen to live in it. Kelly says another way to mind control and what looks like visual control as well. Yeah, exactly. They can tell you what you see, right? Once it becomes so, it's one thing once it's like a digital road sign, like Ash was saying. But imagine when the actual what would you call them? The holograms themselves become actual real world. Like you could kill somebody with that by hacking those eyeballs and putting like a rock around a turn in the middle of the road, right? So they spin off the road to try and avoid the rock that's in the road and hit a tree. You know what I mean? Or end up in a ditch or this sort of thing. Like, yeah, well,
that's how the CIA kills people now. They hack the cars. This is like, I heard this so many times. They hack the car and they just turn your brakes off and they just floor it. And that's how they there's some sort of exploit with any car like past a certain year. Like the CIA can get in there and just take care of you. It happens to so many people. Insane. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Let's say supposedly that happens because I
supposedly
definitely supposedly happens.
Right.
Mike wants to know on YouTube, on Facebook, he says, what about its security, like to prevent hacking? Also, so would it be like a live network that any pairs of contacts could access and see? I think that becomes the thing, right? So with self-driving cars, it's the same sort of thing. How safe are these? How hackable are they? How easily could it be for like the guy in the car next to you to see you're in a self-driving car, pull out his iPad, and then hack your shit and like run you into a ditch at 90 miles an hour? You know what I mean? Like that's the scary thing. Like when we're being shuttled around by artificial intelligence, hackable artificial intelligence, even it turns into a scary world indeed. So that's why we're pointing this out, and that's why we talk about this stuff. And great find there, Ash. All right, so anything from chat or anything else on this? Yeah, Larry says like the movie The Eye. I haven't seen that one, but I believe you.
I haven't seen that either.
That sounds scary. Maybe we should watch that.
Eye stuff freaks me out. You know when people mess with eyes and stuff. Have you seen Fire in the Sky? Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah,
there's a point where I'm like, oh, it's creepy the whole time, aliens, we all love that stuff. but like there's a point where they take this needle, like starts sticking out, and it's like clearly going for his eye. Ugh, that stuff freaks me out. Yeah,
right. My brother too. He's got this weird eye thing. So you like chase him around, so I'm gonna lick his eyeball, and he like runs around and screams. He's like,
he starts freaking out. I freak out too, man. I'm not.
I'm gonna lick your eyeball. I'm coming. He's like,
stay away. Don't come to Mars.
Yeah. Anyway, there's some weird things with eyes. Okay, so there we go. There's a fake eyeballs, augmented reality, pretty crazy stuff. All right, let's move on to this next one. This is reported by phys.org, PHYS, which would be short for physics, right? Short for physics, I guess. Here we go. Let's put this in. The headline reads: ESA opens oxygen plant making air out of moon dust. What the hell? Out of moon dust. Yeah, that's right. Out of moon dust. All right, let's check this out. This is crazy. All right,
why don't we just use human blood like normal aliens?
Exactly. Like, why don't we abduct the cattle and the humans and like they grind them into space dust and turn them into
just
oxygen
air.
Or whatever. yeah, whatever. So check this out. So this is crazy. So they've taken fake regolith. I'm not sure exactly how it's said. That's how it's spelled. But sure. It's fake lunar dust, and so they're able to feed this thing into a machine, right? The fake lunar dust, and then create oxygen out of it. It like has some sort of a like processing effect, and so it removes the oxygen from it, and they're able to take the oxygen and use it, and then the what's left is they have like metal shavings that once they pull the oxygen out of it. Let's read some of this, because I sound really stupid talking about it, but there's some smart people that are doing it.
I feel like they're inventing a drug like they don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Like next thing we know, it's going to be a Chinese drug being peddled to America or something.
Yeah, it could be. Oh, like we got to do that one too. I almost did the Chinese outbreak tonight. That crazy whatever's going on over there. And how come it always ends up in China? There we go. We shit on China. That one's for you, Addie.
We did it. Check.
We did.
Oh, I'll check it off. I got it. Hold on.
All right, check the box. All right. Here we go. So a prototype oxygen plant has been set up in the Materials and Electrical Components Laboratory of the European Space Research and Technology Center. Holy shit, that's a mouthful. We abbreviate that as ESTEC, based in Noordwijk in the Netherlands. Quote, having our own facility allows us to focus on oxygen production, measuring it with a mass spectrometer as it is extracted from the regolith simulant, comments Beth Lonex. So there we go. There's some smart stuff that's maybe rounds out my dumb stuff that I said at the beginning. And quote, being able to acquire oxygen from resources found on the moon would obviously be hugely useful for future lunar settlers, slow down Mike, both for breathing and in the local production of rocket fuel. So remember, in the very beginning of this show, we were talking about something very similar to this. When I think go back to episode 2, actually, even the second one we did was on the moon, and Frank was talking about the chemical compounds of what was found there and how you could actually extract this useful materials out of the moon dust, basically. And so this is now finally like 2 years later almost they catch up to Troubled Minds Radio. Like these
you
holes.
guys are on the edge, huh?
Yeah, I guess, right? Like they should call us for scientific testing contracts. We should be the ones.
I'm sure there's a check in the mail.
Yeah,
there's
a
check
definitely.
in the mail somewhere. Yeah,
definitely. It's on the way. Check's always in the mail. All right, so basically, they can take the moon dust, they can process it, they can pull oxygen out of it, and then what's left afterward is some sort of like metal shavings of some sort. And so it remains to be seen if they can, because it depends on, I guess, on the moon. There's different areas where they have different compositions in the dust itself, right? So depending on if it's this crater or that crater or this whatever, right? This pole or that pole. So if they can actually narrow this down and get maybe like different variants or variables, they're going to be able to pull oxygen out of the moon dust, and then on top of that, whatever's left, they're saying that there's a possibility they may be able to, without further refinery, turn this into like maybe a 3D printing sort of material. So you pull the oxygen out, you store it in like tanks of some sort, right, which you use, of course, when you need it, or for whatever, for the houses or for the astronauts or whatever. But then the rest of this ends up as some sort of like very metallic dust that you could maybe feed into like a 3D printer, and then make yourself a new car or a new moon motorcycle or something. So this is pretty cool stuff so far. Brand new, they say, January 20th, 2020. This is reported. Whoa, is that some sort of weird synchronicity? 1/20/2020. But yeah, I mean, neat, right? What do you think about that, Ash?
That's pretty cool. They should just like, if they could turn it into nuke form, just nuke the moon, and then just turn it all into oxygen, create an atmosphere, and then they could just have like these 3D printing bulldozers, just like making houses, at like 40 miles an hour, just pumping out behind them. That's it. See, there's another check in the mail right there.
There you go. They should be calling us first. Exactly. Who do we send this big contract to? We'll tell you. Send it right here. Send it right here. We'll get back to you on who's going to start making it. Yeah.
That is cool though. That's awesome. It's like it's in the ground, right?
It's there.
It's in the ground.
Oxygen's already there. And so nice. one of the earlier things, and if you go back to episode 2 of To Troubled Minds when we first started, excuse the audio quality and our stammering, whatever, like we do it anyway still, so whatever. But like Frank was actually saying that the moon dust is actually like quickcrete. So you add water and it'll turn into concrete. So like it's actually. What? Yeah, it's already ready. Like that is ready to go. Anyway, it's like a chemical thing. I can't explain it because I'm a moron, but whatever. It's a thing. Look it up. It's a thing. Or go back and check out episode 2 of Troubled Minds. Anyway, so there we go. So they're saying they can actually pull oxygen out of this space dust, and then whatever's left, this metallic thing, they might be able to make 3D printed things out of it without further processing even. So they're still looking at that part, but holy shit, man, that's has that been going on for like 50 years and they're not telling us? Secret space bases and programs and shit like this.
Yeah. It's funny. It's almost like the moon is like made for this kind of stuff. Just saying. I don't know.
Weird.
It's concrete. It can be 3D printed. It can oxygen in it.
And there's water up there at the poles. I mean, it almost seems like we maybe have had bases up there for years because all the stuff is there. Weird.
We wouldn't know, would we? We wouldn't know, would we?
We definitely wouldn't know it. Let's see. Kane says, wouldn't the air escape into space on the moon? Could it hold an atmosphere? No. So you would just take the air out and you would put it in like tanks. So of course there's no like actual atmosphere that would hold it. You're correct. So they process it in some kind of machine, take the oxygen out, put it in tanks, and store it, and then use it for later. What's up? I see you there on Mixer. The Boss 909. We're just gonna call you Boss. The Boss is on Mixer. Thanks for showing up tonight, man. I think that's the end of this. But that's the idea. So they're going to pull the oxygen out, store it, and then whatever happens with the raw material left is open to the next scientific thing that probably DARPA's been doing for 50 years. Right. I'm just speculating. What the hell do I know? Okay, let's move on to the next one here. Okay, this is reported by sciencealert.com. And this is pretty sweet. We talk about all things space, the deep holes of space. This is the black hole of space. This is one of the black holes, right? So this is there's something weird in the center of the Milky Way, right? We have a Sagittarius A, which is our supermassive black hole that's in the middle of the Milky Way here, and they found objects that are actually orbiting this black hole in these really large, bizarre elliptical orbits, and this is crazy. So they're huge, like super huge, massive suns that they say have probably combined at some point. They were binary stars that actually became smashed together because of all the gravitational forces of the black hole, right? So they're calling these new objects G1 and G2, like they're called G objects now. It's like these brand new things. And so here's the bizarre part, right? So they orbit in these huge elliptical orbits around the black hole, of all things. They don't get close enough to get sucked in, but they're like a normal star. Like if you view them directly when they're far away from the black hole, they're just a normal star, kind of just cruising through the universe, right? Through the galaxy, let's say, and headed back through their orbit. But here's the crazy part. As they get close to the black hole, instead of having like the shape of a spherical star, these things get pulled and stretched like they're like they turn into these huge like fiery gas clouds, like the black hole gravity signature is almost ripping them to shreds, but not quite. It's kind of pulling these massive stars around like Gumby, right? And so as they get closer and closer, these things kind of spread out and end up in these like gas-like objects. And then when they actually come back out of the gravitational orbit where they're no longer subject to that, they retain their form again. Crazy, right? The G objects, they're called G1 and G2, and they just found another 4, I believe. So there's now G6 they've labeled up to G6, but that's what these objects are. It's pretty nuts, right?
Yeah, it is pretty nuts. It sounds like me. Like during the summer, smaller, I'm more active, and then when the winter, you get closer to the black hole, you get bigger. You spread them out more. That's me. I just eat more in the winter. Big.
Is that how it works? All right. Well, I think we'll have to put you in the rack to stretch you that particular way. So let me know. We'll do the reptilian rack test.
Right. Start with my tail, man.
All right, let's start with the tail. All right, perfect. Robert says moon dust is very little to any judging by how deep craters are. Sounds cool though. Yeah, it depends, right? It depends on how much they've told us. I've never been there. If anybody's been to the moon, I'd love to talk to you. Please call 702-957-1037. How we doing tonight? What's on your mind? How's this stuff make you feel? How are we on time? I think we're okay. All right, so we can start. We can probably start the Virginia gun control stuff. Let's motor through these last couple articles, and then we'll do that. So yeah, do call 702-957-1037. If you go to troubledminds.org, you can click the Discord link, join the Discord, and be on the show that way, and also join the chat that goes on after the show and every day. 24/7 here and there and everywhere. We got people watching all over the world, so chat kind of happens at 3 a.m, or sometimes at normal times for you. Just depends, right? So anyway, there you go. Troubleminds.org. You can do all those things. Here we go. Let's move on to this next one. Reported by New Scientist. This is crazy. So I almost said that the last one. That was Science Alert. This is New Scientist. And check this out. newscientist.com. In the quantum realm, cause doesn't necessarily come before effect. Oh.
Oh, God. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me get my mental brain ready for this.
All right. We've talked about this in the past, right? A little bit. This is my go-to for the LOLs. Is that this is called retrocausality, right? So in everyday life, obviously, cause always precedes the effect. But of course, in the quantum world, where things are not so finite, let's say, or easily measurable, right? Remember the move as a particle, move as a wave, the dual what do you call that?
Dual slit experiment.
Yes, the double slit, the dual particle something. Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. So here we go. So physicists have started to realize that causality might not be as straightforward as we thought. Instead of always preceding the effect, effects can sometimes precipitate their causes. And so take that to a larger scale. And we talked about the last show. We talked about what did we say? Maybe the world ended, right? So maybe things we did after the world ended brought about the world end back in 2012. Who the hell knows? So anyway, I'm just saying. Here's an article. Read it. Oh, there you go. You got to continue reading. You got to pay him to continue reading it. But this is retrocausality. You can look it up, check it out. I'm not making this up. This is the thing. Sometimes the effect happens before the actual cause, and so yeah. Whoa, weird. Anyway, okay, let's move on. Now, this one's fantastic. That's fantastic. So this is reported by redstate.com, and I have to point this out. This is so good. Like when everybody else is doing impeach politics, here we go. Here's a quick political stab back in the day here. So that is reported by redstate.com. Iran's foreign minister threatens to expose Western diplomats who took bribes to create the Iran nuclear deal.
Ooh.
What was that? 1.5 billion they got or something? I wonder how many of that went into the pockets of people that set that deal up. So that's
called a slush fund, Mike.
Is that what that is? Slush fund.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lots of slush funds all over
so this
the
is not new. This is actually old, but it's funny how this came back around when the Iran business was happening. So it kind of got pushed back into the news cycle a little bit. So this is from May 13th, 2018, when this was first reported. But with that Iran stuff, it seemed like somebody wanted this to be known. So anyway, just FYI, pretty funny. Which Western diplomats took bribes, and the Iran foreign minister was gonna out him. So there we go. I think that probably sums us up. Anything on any of that there, Ash? Anything on any of that before we move on to the...
There's so based, and I don't want to get into politics. I'm gonna stay high level, super high level.
All right,
but right now there's like a battle for power between like new hats, old hats, CIA, FBI, foreign powers, secret groups, and it's basically Game of Thrones in Washington. That's why it's so nuts. It's literally Game of Thrones. So these guys have dirt on these guys have bribes on these guys, and they're chess moving but I feel like everyone there is guilty some way or another. So like, everyone's got a kill switch, right? Is that what it's called? A kill switch, contingency plan,
Dead
and
man
everyone's
switch.
And some groups have factions have control of the media, some factions control the military. It's just they're just going at it, and it's a war right now. And I'm sure there'll be books about it in the future. And it's going to conclude, and some people are going to lose, and you're seeing a lot of losers right now. Epstein, the Weinstein thing, that was a while ago, right? But that was just the start of it. It's a lot of stuff going on, and so we'll see what happens.
A lot of money changing hands.
Prince Henry guy stepped down, right? The crown's in the war. That was a casualty of the war.
No, Harry. Is it Harry? Prince Harry.
Harry. That's it. Harry.
That's the guy. The guy, the redhead guy. That funny enough, if you guys didn't notice this. So I was kind of talking to my wife about that Harry step down thing, and like how does that even work? Like they're still going to be on the payroll in some capacity. They're still going to need some sort of like Secret Service type of people watching after him, because they're a high profile target. They're not going to be able to just go live in the suburbs, It's not happening. But
right.
Remember, not too long ago, before he got married and was the golden boy of the British royal crown in this, like he was like the wild child. Like there was all kinds of stuff that they were saying he was having these parties with these underage girls, and when they came into the house that he was in, nobody could bring in cell phones because, of course, they could get damaging information, and so like this kid's been protected for a long time and has been that wild guy apparently, according to some reports. What do I know? I wasn't out at those parties because, well, I wasn't invited. If I was invited, I'd try to smuggle a cell phone in, but I wasn't. So there you go. Now you know not to invite me to your party because I'll try and bring my cell phone. What a dirty bastard I am, right? But yeah, not too long ago, he was kind of a
right, and he got compromised while doing it. And
I think he did,
basically got compromised, and so the crown is trying to distance themselves so that they can't use him against them, right? And so we're just seeing. I think the whole Epstein thing. I think they were collecting. I played the game Hitman, and in that game, that's what there's like this one level where there's models, and they're like connected with the CIA and all this stuff, and they basically just collect dirt, and then they just work with different factions. Use it as leverage against people, and apparently Anthony Weiner had a lot of leverage on his laptop when it was collected. So you see, just like everyone's like, it's up in the air now, So people are trying to damage control before stuff happens. So it's nuts, and we're just kind of like watching from the outside, like, what the hell is going on, So it's Game of Thrones, and it'd be kind of cool if you actually did know what was going on, and see the chess piece moving, just be an observer, fly on the wall. But
yeah, I know exactly why it was happening. Yeah, exactly. Crazy stuff. What's up, Todd? Thanks for showing up. He says I'm here, just left work. Well,
what's up, Todd?
Man. Fine day, just left work. Yeah, all right. So let's see. Okay, so let's see. Ingrid says he knows better than that. His mom's shown him better than that, and his mom was Princess Diana. Is that right? Am I right with that?
Oh, is that right?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. So Kane says that he's not Prince Charles' kid either. Maybe something to do with that. Oh yeah. Is he not Prince Charles' kid? I have no idea. Like I
don't know. I don't care.
Again, I really could give a shit, to be perfectly honest. I think it's one of those things where it's super fascinating to think about. Maybe those things that happen behind the scenes, just like Ash was saying, like how much money's involved, who has dirt on who, and Epstein had something to do with this for sure. So I guess we'll keep an eye and see what happens. Maybe Prince Harry ends up your neighbor. So cross your fingers.
But don't send your kids over to his house.
No, don't do that. Definitely don't do that. In our opinion, of course. Okay, so
I'm just taking a guess. There's that uncle that you're not sure about. You don't let your kids. He's nice, but you don't let your kids. Stay with it's kind of like that.
That's Prince Harry. That's Prince Harry. Okay, so what's up, Ace? What's up, Luis? What's up, Dale? Let's see. Dale says if Harry married Barbara Bush, it could have been called.
Gene,
am I saying
Gene.
it? You're gonna say
I
it? He could have been named Harry Bush. Yeah, there we go. Bam, zing. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to move on here. So tonight, again, we're going to talk about, we haven't touched on this. And here's what I want to do. I know a lot of you are international, right? Canadians, or you watch from the United Kingdom, Australia, whatever, right? And I want to know what you think about this, because America gets shit on quite a lot for their love of guns, right? So we're going to talk about this for just a little while. If it gets wearisome and you guys don't want to talk about it, we'll move on. We got some other hot stuff behind that. But I think it's important because we have that stuff going on in Virginia. Everybody remembers that, right? It was like yesterday. Like, everybody remembers it like it was yesterday, right? Yeah, because it was yesterday. There we go. I messed up the joke. But the thing is that it was this whole civil war is coming, right? Just kind of like, remember how we talked about with the Iran thing? World War III was on the tip of everybody's tongues, on the news and social media. It was World War III, World War III. This was something very similar that was happening in Virginia, right? That they have a new legislature takeover that's very anti-gun. Virginia State is a mostly rural state, so you don't have a lot of big cities. People live kind of with dirt roads and ranches and small towns and things like this, right? Which is more of where you'd expect to find guns, right? Because there's like maybe coyotes trying to eat your chickens type thing. Like, this is like an actual reality of life in those areas. And so when you start trying to take guns from people in these areas where they probably are a little more frontiery than, say, San Francisco, then you would, it becomes an issue. And so, of course, these people get maligned, and there's this huge thing. Anyway, so we'll go into it in a sec. But like I said, if you're international and you think Americans are insane because they love guns, I want to hear about it. We want to hear about that, because we don't do this a lot, but this thing just hit here. We talk about the yellow vests, and we talk about the fires in Australia. So you got to forgive us 1 minute when we talk about something local here. So it's not really that local. It's like 3,000 miles from here, but whatever. So, all right. So this is how this started, right? So this whole thing. So like I said, let's see. Let me pull this up here. And
just keep in mind, guys, we're two guys on the internet. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you may disagree with what we have to say, and that's fine. And America, we don't give a shit a little bit. It's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's cool. It's like, you guys have your culture, you have your ideas, and we could talk about it, and we can go back and forth. Just kind of like we had the climate change show. And we obviously kind of had our angle, and that's a pretty, polarized and excitable topic. And we're just kind of spinning it, and we'll probably take the conspiracy theory angle to it, make it a little bit fun, but good to talk about this stuff. And and the media isn't even talking about stuff. Crazy.
Well, they are. They're just spinning the shit out of it. They're spinning. Here we go. Yeah. This is reported by The Hill. Let's start here. So everybody remembers, right? Actually, hold on. Let's do this. I got these nice clips from. So what was going to happen, right? I just kind of cut the punchline again. So I got these nice clips. There's this young lady on YouTube that her name is Liberty Doll is her name. And so she's actually talking about the bills that are happening in Virginia State, okay? And so these are anti-gun bills. And so she broke this down far better than I ever could. I was reading it. I was like, this is kind of deep in depth. No, here we go. We're going to just play. This is from Liberty Doll on YouTube. So do check it out. Do source it. I will link it in the notes at the end of the show here, because she's a very big Second Amendment supporter, and she's again on the ball with this stuff. So here we go. Let's listen to this and see what she has to say about these bills they're trying to put in, right? And think about it, and how does this make you feel? So typically, you don't really have to register your firearms in many states here. If you do, in some of the other states, there are restrictions on what you can own. So that's basically it, right? Otherwise, in every state in this country, you can own a firearm. It just depends on what that firearm is. Okay, so here we go. So this is what's happening in Virginia. Like I said, mostly rural. They have a lot of coyotes trying to eat your chicken situation. It's not all like that, of course, but you get what I'm saying. Here we go. Let's play this action.
So here is the bills that they heard and what happened. First, we had Senate Bill 12, a universal background check that requires a background check for any firearm transfer, even person to person, unless it was between family. Failure to do so would be a Class 1 misdemeanor. Then we had Senate Bill 70, another universal background check bill that was basically the same except for two things. Number one, failure to do the background check would be a Class 6 felony, and the bill gives the state 3 days to complete a background check before allowing a firearm to be transferred. The non-felony version was rolled into the felony version with a modification so that this would only be about sales, not about loaners or rentals. and it passed 9-5. There were 2 bills to limit gun owners to buying only 1 handgun a month, and those were SB 22 and SB 69. They were combined together and again passed 9-5. We had the red flag law, which is SB 240, also passed 9-5.
Yeah, so that's actually what went on, right? It seems like a mouthful. There's a lot there. You kind of get into the weeds a little bit with particular states and their particular gun laws, right? But here's the problem. So a lot of the things she was saying, me in particular, I don't have a problem with. You know, like there should be background checks. You shouldn't be able to just walk in and like be like, "Hey, I want a 6-pack of PBR and hand me an AR and 1,000 rounds." You know what I mean? And they just like ring it up and then you push it out in the car. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be that easy. Like, that's the reputation we get in this country, and it is not true whatsoever. If you go and try and do that, you don't get it. They're like, no. You get turned down for simple things like if your name. And you fill out the information, like your current address doesn't match your ID, you get turned down for these type of sales. Like for simple, procedural things like this, because they want to be able to know who you are. They want you to be able to prove you are who you are. And so anyway, so whatever, blah, blah. So there you go. It was a little bit of a mouthful. So she said, Bill 240. We'll get to that in a minute. That's the one that really pisses me off. But here we go. Here's the rest of these. And so she breaks it down. Like I said, it's very, very specific. And what's that? What did you say?
I said, tell him, Mike.
I'm about to tell him. I'm about to tell you. Here we go. So here's the round 2 of the bills and what happened. And then what happened actually in Virginia. We'll get to that in just a sec. Here we go, action. Liberty, Doll, take 2.
Finally, there were 4 bills that all had to do with banning guns in various public places and settings. Senate Bill 35 would ban guns for parades, marches, or any other permitted event or an event that would otherwise require a permit. It would also ban the possession of ammunition or components during any of those events. Senate Bill 450 would allow any locality to ban guns at Board of Supervisor meetings or City Council meetings so long as someone puts up a sign. Similarly, Senate Bill 505 would allow any localities to ban guns in local government buildings and would also require a provision for security measures to be designed that could reasonably prevent unauthorized access of such buildings by a person with a firearm, ammunition, or components or combination thereof. Again, so long as someone posts a sign. Senate Bill 615 is basically the same, but adds to it a provision to also ban guns from public parks. Again, requiring a sign and requiring people to be posted at the entrances to stop people from entering with guns, ammunition, or components thereof. These bills were all rolled together into one big ball of tyranny and also were passed 9-5.
There you go. So they passed all the bills anyway. This is basically the end cliff notes here, and we'll get to some of those. Now, listening to that is kind of like, sitting there, you're in the corner and you're like punching yourself in the face, right? Like that's like what reading laws is like. It's just like these, this, that, the other. You have to specify this and when and how it can happen. The sign has to be posted, and then. It's just a giant pain in the ass. So that's all we have of reading these bills. Okay, so don't run off. Nobody run off. That's it. We're not going to have her reading any more of these bills. But it is important to know the specifics of what everybody's pissed off about, right? And so there's a lot there that really, to me, is like, okay, well, I mean, a lot of other states are doing that. You should really have, background checks and all the rest of this. Like I said, you shouldn't be able to get a 6-pack and an AR. 1,000 rounds. You shouldn't be able to do that and leave without any kind of anything, So whatever. That's normal stuff. But here's the crazy part. Okay, so everybody said about this. They said, all right, this is going to be the Civil War, right? It's going to spark over there. We even talked about it, about the possibility of what the hell's going to happen, blah blah, so on and so forth. And we're talking about gun control. We're talking about Virginia and what just happened there. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. What just happened? This is reported by thehill.com. And yeah, after all that talk of Civil War, what actually happened? Yeah, that's right. No violence, only 1 arrest reported at large Virginia pro-gun rally. One arrest, right? So it's like, this is Civil War, right, Ash? This is about to go down. Like, this shit is about to start right now. The powder keg happens in Virginia. It's like 1776 all over again, except it's Virginia State this time, right?
We are taking our guns and we're going to march for America.
America. There you go. Exactly. But nothing happened. Like they played this up as it was this huge terrorist thing and all this other business, but nothing happened. Go ahead.
Well, you know why? It's because it's the same reason like the Chinese, was it the Chinese? No, the Japanese? I forget. It was some war where they were going to actually invade America on its soil. The only reason they did was because there were just so many people with freaking guns here, the citizens, that they would only get so far. Definitely wouldn't get past Texas. That's for damn sure.
No,
And we all know
definitely not.
someone who's just waiting for that shit to happen. They'll be so excited. I know so many people would be like, yes, and they would get their guns, and you know, guns are a deterrent. So like, how many guns were at this rally, right? The cops don't want to fuck with that. They don't want to start something, right?
No,
And all these
no.
people are law-abiding citizens,
Exactly.
and they, right? So like,
Yeah.
it's a walk with a big stick, but not use it. I don't know. I butchered it, but you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah. Tread softly, tread lightly, carry a big stick. That's the saying.
That's right.
As the saying goes. Yeah. So okay. So like I said, this was a big deal until it happened, and then it wasn't a big deal. One arrest, no injuries, no riots, no anything. Like nothing went down here. They protested, and yeah. So here we go. So we'll spin through some of these because we got some spitting hot alien fire from Ash coming in a little bit, but I'll just run through the rest of these articles real quick to talk about what happened in Virginia.
oh, this is good stuff, dude.
Yeah, this is definitely good stuff, but we got some time. We got some other good stuff to talk about. Everybody's here for aliens. They don't want to hear this shit. They want to hear about the aliens.
History, bro. This is history, man. It's like we're just so desensitized because things are happening. So I don't know if it's a crazy times or just the news, and we're all so connected, but it's like exhausting. I mean, that's why it keeps us working. keeps us
There's tons of stuff. Exactly. Tons of stuff to parse, and how much is propaganda, how much is bullshit, how much is all this, right? How much is like Twitter bot farms. And again, like that, it keeps us busy because we're trying to figure this out constantly, just like you guys are. That's why you're here. Okay, so here we go. So here's helicopter footage. I'm going to mute this of the actual the rally itself, right? So look, you have it's a fenced off area. You've got thousands of people, right? Maybe looks like hundreds there, but maybe total thousands. Oh, okay, they're packed in around the looks like the state building there. But yeah, but look, I see absolutely nobody throwing punches. I see it almost looks like a Jimmy Buffett concert, let's say. You know, like everybody's kind of.
I don't even see movement. They're not even moving.
Exactly. No,
It's
they're
like
really
so low
moving.
energy.
They're standing there with their with their signs, and they're doing their thing, you know. And this was supposed to be the second coming, right? This is supposed to be World War III. This is supposed to be the Civil War. And look at this. This is like the most peaceful thing ever. You know why? Just like Ash said, because 90% of these fools are packing. Like who's gonna be the first one to bring a knife to a gunfight? Nobody. Nobody's that stupid, right? Like there's no Antifa here. There's none of this business. Because why?
No,
Why?
yeah.
Come on. You know why? Because they're going to get shot. If you start it, you're going to get shot. And nobody wants to get shot. That sucks. But anyway, so there we go. There's the shot. There's the shot of how many are there. And it's a lot of people, right? Like, it's a rural state. People had to drive a couple hours in many cases to get here, a few hours to show up. And there you go. That's what it looked like, okay? That's what it looked like. Anything on that, Ash? Going to move on here real quick.
Oh no, that's crazy. You know how much helicopter fuel is? You know what I mean? They were trying to get that shot. That was probably a few grand. You know, helicopter fuel is expensive, so they wouldn't fly a helicopter in this. They're expecting something, and the media is so dishonest. It's disgusting, guys. It's really gross. Like they would literally hope that like thousands of people would die so they can make money off like clicks.
Yeah,
that's how,
I agree.
That's how
you call that legacy media. The mainstream legacy media. That's what they want. They wanted blood and guts here, so they could send all the reporters on scene and report with the police tape. And there's such a tragedy here in Virginia. Yeah, no. Yeah. Okay, so real quick before we move on, one more clip of Liberty Doll, and she's not talking about bills. So this is what happened before, right? So now we've seen that there's a lot of people showed up, and one person was arrested. Like nothing to see here. But look what happened just before all this went down, a couple days before.
5 days away from the VCDL rally and lobby day on January 20th, and Governor Northam has announced a temporary state of emergency. The General Assembly already pushed through an emergency gun ban inside government buildings in Capitol Square, but starting Friday, all guns, weapons, helmets, and shields will be banned in the entire Capitol grounds until next Tuesday. I have some issues with this, besides the obvious Second Amendment infringement. I was reading an article out of AP this morning ahead of Northam's official announcement, and while the AP piece was informed by 2 of Northam's crew speaking anonymously, a few things jumped out at me. Number 1, the AP said that the state didn't have any actual intelligence proving that anyone was planning violence. Number 2, it said the goal of this emergency ban was to stop another Charlottesville from happening, while also stating that despite there being heavily armed protesters, the big act of violence in Charlottesville didn't come from them, but from a rando with a car. Charlottesville also had nothing to do with Second Amendment rights, and what's happening in Virginia has nothing to do with white nationalism, no matter how hard people at The Guardian and elsewhere try to say it does. And for the full story on that, check out this past Friday's live stream. It's a treat.
It's a treat. That's Liberty Doll again. Let's Liberty Doll on YouTube. Check it out. If you guys are into the latest news on the Second Amendment issue in the United States, and again, world round, because we're going to get to that in just a sec. The United States gets shit on for, oh, they love guns. Don't go to the United States, you're going to get shot, right? Well, we're going to look at gun control the world over in just a sec. But so it's just like she's saying, 5 days prior, the governor declared a state of emergency because they freaked out and thought there was going to be a bunch of people marching on the Capitol with guns. What they didn't take into account, just like Ash said at the very beginning of this segment there, he said, hey, these are law-abiding citizens. Like, think about it. If all these people had a ton of guns and it was on their mind to show up and shoot people, they would have done it already. Like, this is not like, hey, let's show up and start shooting people. Like you have that ability, you have that access. And, you know, there's supposed to be 300 million guns in the United States, which is like 1 for every man, woman, and child. And if you say that, in a foreign country, you hear that, you automatically think it's like the Wild West, and like you go down to the bank, you go to the ATM, and then like there's like a like the tumbleweed, you know, and like and people like boo boo boo.
Yeah,
it
you
doesn't
can't make
happen.
eye contact for too long. You know, the music will just start playing
Exactly.
on someone's iPhone,
Exactly.
and you're like, oh shit, okay, it's kill or be killed right now. And then everyone like, you know, runs back to the stores, hides out of their windows. You know, the tumbleweed rolls through.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just,
and
just
people
normal
do with
day in America.
their lever action 45s in the window and the broken windows. And no, I mean, that's not it, right? But anyway, okay, so there you go. A state of emergency was declared, and here we go. All right, so let's roll through this a little bit. Now I want to point this out real quick. Again, law-abiding citizens, right? So check this out. Now, this is amazing. This is reported by 8 News, WRIC.com. I don't know where the hell this is. I couldn't find the city on this. Come on, local news people, if you're like ABC 8 News, say Charlotte, North Carolina, put it on the damn website. I couldn't find it. Anyway, so here we go. Here's the link. And the headline reads this: Gun rights advocates pick up trash after protesting peacefully in Richmond. Oh boy. There you go. There was your Civil War right there, waiting to happen. The people that came and made a mess, well, they were courteous enough to pick up their trash.
It was almost, I almost feel like they did this just to show that, like, look, gun, you know what I mean? Like a good PR for gun owner, right? It's it kind of, you know, the Japanese do that whenever they go to like an event, they like clean up the place so it looks even better than when they got there. And yeah, it's just probably, it's smart. It's like a good PR move for gun owners. If something happened, they could have spun it and made people look bad. Gun owners look bad.
Yeah, which somebody was definitely willing to do. All right, so we're going to skip this because I think we're putting Dale to sleep, and that's bad news. But we'll just roll through this really fast because I knew this was, some people are into this, some people are not. But this is about your rights, and whether you believe in this stuff or not, you know, like I believe in your rights, and so to me it's important. Like to you it may not be, and maybe one day it will, maybe one day it won't. But for right now, at least let me talk about your rights. So that's what we're talking about. We'll roll through this real quick, and then we're gonna get to alien shit. All right, so here we go.
Some crazy shit.
We got some crazy alien shit about to come up. Hang in there, guys. Okay, here we go.
It's gonna be great.
It's going to be great. All right, so here we go. So real fast, we're going to just motor through this. So we got Wikipedia, overview of gun laws by nation, right? Blah, 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 whatever. Here we go. Here's a map. Here's a map of the world, right? And so restricted guns are basically red. So there's different, like there's yellow, there's green, there's blue, there's orange, there's other things in here where every single color on this map in the world means that they have access to guns. Okay. All right, there we go. The only ones that do not and have deep restrictions are dark red. Even China is orange. So, I mean, yeah, anyway, I'm just saying.
Wait. So red is the places that don't have access to gun?
Yeah, where it's like
what's gray?
Strictly forbidden. Strictly forbidden. Let's see.
What's gray? Like guns are mandatory?
No, gray is, I think gray is not reported. Yeah, not reported or so like I noticed Mexico's gray, and I do know Mexico has the right to own a firearm, but they've limited it so much. And here's a quick example. In Mexico, they've limited it so much that you can only own a 22 or 38 caliber, and it has to be registered, and you have to get it. And there's there's only one gun store in Mexico. It's in Mexico City. And so, of course, when you limit access like that, only the rich people have them, right? Because you just bribe your way in. Right. Otherwise, everybody else fills out the form and has to wait in line and pay the fee. And then they're like, oh, sorry, the demand is too high. So that's the problem, right? So they have the right to do it. There's just no access. So you just buy it illegally.
Isn't that funny? Because, like, aren't we, like, debating whether or not we should send our fucking military to Mexico to deal with the cartels? What do you think they're fighting with? Rocks? Burritos? Where are they getting their guns, right? Yeah, it's crazy. We are thinking about sending our military there because their government can't handle the cartels at this level anymore. So how did they get guns? Did they all go to this one store?
Yeah,
right.
No, yeah, exactly. No, of course not. Of course not. It turns into a huge black market. That's the thing. That's one of the points. Okay. Anyway, so let's spin through this. Let's get to the aliens. So my point is that here we go. This is the biggest point of them all. So the red flag laws, right? Everybody says red flag laws, blah blah blah. What this is basically thought crime. Okay, this is precog thought crime stuff, like from the Minority Report. Everybody's seen that movie with Tom Cruise, right? Like that, they have the precogs that can actually tell you if you're going to do the crime or not, right?
Tom Cruise movies for the night. That's two.
There you go, 2. And we only shit on China once, so we're doing pretty good tonight. So okay, so a red flag law. If you guys don't know what it is, here we go. They include extreme risk protection orders, ERPOs. And so they allow law enforcement, family members, and even medical professionals in some states to petition the court to temporarily remove firearms and ammunition from a person who is believed to present a danger to himself or herself or others. Now, okay, I'm going to boil it down to this, because this is what this is all about. Now, a red flag law, they're saying that if let's say right now, let's say on this show, right? Let's say you're my neighbor across the street. You're listening to this shit, and you're like, "Hey, man, I don't know. I'm listening to Michael Strange, and he seems like he's a little bit amped up this week, don't you think? You know what I mean?" So you could make a phone call, and then it could happen where they're like, "Yeah, I think he may be a risk, right? Like he's." And then bam, like the court order gets pressed because your neighbor's scared, and then bam, they can kick your door in, and they can take away your firearms. Okay. Now it seems silly, right? That seems silly, but this is what the problem is. It completely bypasses any sort of actual due process, and then it makes it very, very easy to exploit the process. That's all. To be able to, right? And so when you end up with this big, huge BS garbage of easily exploitable things by bureaucrats, this is the problem. That's a big problem. So it's a way around the Second Amendment, number one. Number two, it's a way around our right to an actual jury trial by our peers. Okay, now there's a big problem with this. And so they say red flag laws, it makes sense. No, come on. Like, think about it. If I was really, literally a danger to myself or other people, don't you think I should be incarcerated? Don't you think like there should be some sort of mental health law enacted where they could like take me out of the environment where I might murder people or myself? It just doesn't make sense, right? So instead, we remove my guns and then what? Like, I'm not going to try and give people ideas, but if I was hell bent on hurting myself or others, I could do it without firearms. I'm just saying. So
how do you determine? It's kind of like hate speech laws, right? It's like, what is hate? And people are like, it's like racist talk. It's like, yeah, but who decides where that line is drawn? Right?
Well, it's not hate speech. I mean, that's part of it, but I think it's more like you become a danger, right? Like if somebody,
but that's what I'm saying. There's like
if somebody perceives you to be a danger, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like someone could say what you said was hate speech. So now we need to censor your speech, take you off the platforms. It's the same tactic. It's like there's this gray area. I say you're a bad boy, Michael Strange, bad, and then I take your gun, right? So who decides that, and where does that in the more you kind of like, basically, in my experience, when you give up rights, you never get them back.
You never get them back. That's the point. Once this goes into the hands of a psychiatrist that hears a statement from your neighbor and the cop nods his head, I've seen things like this happen in the past. Done. You're done. There go your rights. You see? Like you don't get a trial. Like you don't get to explain yourself. That they petition in private and then bam, they're knocking on your door, and if you don't open it, they're kicking it in. So like that's the extreme here. Okay? And that may be the first step to tyranny. And increased tyranny, let's see, but it's happening. So we're going to move on to aliens. You guys are bored. I get it. I understand. I just think it's important that we talk about this because it is. It is removing rights. And like Ash said very smartly, once you lose it, you never get it back. They're never going to, they will never, ever give it back. And that's the thing. And that's why people freak out about this stuff. And that's why I think it's important to talk about. Anyway, so there you go. That's what happened in Virginia. Go ahead.
The Patriot Act, perfect example. Patriot Act was just renewed again. What the hell? Like, why do we still have it? You could be the current laws. They could label you a domestic terrorist and come take you in the night. Right now, as an American citizen, they could do that anytime they want. The more, I would say, resources you have, the more you could fight it. Right? You're a publicity person or whatever. But if you're nobody and they don't, and no one's gonna care, they can just take you right in the middle of the night. You say you're a terrorist. Boom, you're gone. And here's the angle, guys. We did a show before. We talked about the UN and their agenda. Their agenda is to basically clamp this shit down, right? All over the world, new world order. And when they clamp down the world, there's nowhere else to go. You're not going to Mars. No. I mean, maybe you will. Mars will suck.
You already built the wall on Mars.
It sucks.
You built the wall, right?
Mars.
There's no people coming to Mars.
We ain't taking humans.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so in that, all that's true. Again,
that's my
you may not care, you may not be into guns, but it's an important thing because speech is first, guns are next. It's the First and the Second Amendment for a reason. And here we are. We're exercising our free speech. Okay, and I don't want my neighbor to be like, hey, Michael Strange is probably a little off the rocker. I heard his radio show last night. My God, this mofo. He's got a tinfoil brick on his head, right? You should probably go take his guns, right? And I do or do not have guns. I'm not going to say I do or do not, but I might. And if I do, I don't want that being taken away from me because why? Because I said some revolutionary shit on the internet. Ridiculous. Okay, so anyway, there we go. Let's move on. Let's do some aliens. So okay, that's it. That's what happened in Virginia. There's more to it. I got more. Red flag laws are two ways around the First Amendment and the Fifth Amendment, I believe it is, where it's our right to due process. It's two things. Second Amendment and the Fifth. It's the Fourth or the Fifth. I can't remember. I'm a lousy American. But it's two very critical things. Habeas corpus, right? Our actual day in court. We don't get it. And that's the point. So one red flag law, it's common sense. No, it undermines two basic principles of liberty and freedom. And that's important. That's critical. And that's why I'm bringing it up. And we don't do this a lot, but I like I said, it's important. Okay, let's get the spitting hot alien fire. What do we got? What do we got on deck? Let's read the chat. What do you got on chat there? You want to read some chat, Ash? Let's find what's
going on.
You
know what? Let me do it. I'm going to do it. Yeah, I get to read the chat. This is my first time, guys. Go easy on me. Where do I start here? God, it's pretty far back.
Scroll it down. Scroll down.
I saw a comment with me in it. Here we go. So, Dale McGrin.
No last names. Low last names.
Stop.
Don't do
I'm
it.
sorry. I messed it up already. I'm fired, guys.
Fail.
Who is Ash? What did he do with Frank? Frank was tasty. That's all I gotta say.
There you go. That's all
you guys are talking about food. I already had a meal. Soke La Donna. I don't know what that means.
First names. Fuck's sake.
Ingrid Soke de lana. So that's Spanish.
Okay.
Don't know.
Your Spanish
Yummy
sucks.
donuts. Okay. Come on, man. Give me a little bit of room here. I'm trying here. Food.
Read
Yeah,
the
money,
English,
bro.
please. Read the English, for fuck's sakes.
Sam says, let's get to the aliens, for fuck's sakes. All right, we're getting there. You guys keep talking about food and Spanish.
Pan.
Dale says,
Yeah, okay.
Dale says, what's going on with Skinwalker Ranch? More strangeness. We'll make sure we get there, guys. We won't end the show without that. What do aliens eat? Says Ingrid. Franks. That's what we eat.
Franks.
More Spanish.
All right, there you go. Franks.
Little
Franks on
here you
Mars.
go. Kane has got a good comment. Little steps. The powers that be take eroding our freedoms bit by bit. We don't notice it until it's too late and the government passes laws and we can't do anything about it. That's the yellow vest, right? In France, y'all used to get together and chop some fucking heads off. Now, y'all just wear some vests and complain on Twitter.
No. They're flipping cars and setting shit on fire. They're still OG over there. Nice. As long as it's their own people, man. Yeah, they still got it. As long as it's their own people, they're angry. But the second you roll in
the French,
the Germans,
they got some balls.
Okay, so anyway,
that was a bad job. I'll get there, Liam. This is an important issue. We should be taking or losing our freedom. Yep. Portman, Mike. Okay, Luke says Mike is the first step in taking over the downfall of society as a whole. Take the guns and then control the population. It is done. It has been done before. Absolutely. And that's what we're here for. And then last one, Kane, Agenda 21 in work little by little. People willing to accept it cause at the moment it doesn't affect them. Exactly. You just kind of like, you're content and it's like the boiling the frog, right? They just turn the temperature up little by little and you don't realize till it's too late. All right. Did I do good, Mike? Did I get better at it?
That was fantastic.
Thanks, man.
That was getting better. You're getting better.
Reinforcement.
You're getting better, buddy.
Thank you.
Okay, so here we go. If you guys have comments on that, again, this stuff is important. Again, to many people, they're like guns or whatever, but it's about your rights. It's about rights. And so if you have comments on that, we're taking comments about all this stuff. Like always, it's open shows all the time. So whatever, like don't derail too hard, and we'll let you talk a little bit. If you're gonna be like, hey, let's talk about Pumu Punku and the ancient aliens. No, we'll give you like 90 seconds and that's it. So, but you can't call 702-957-1037 and try and keep it on topic if you can. If you want, just say hi, give us show feedback. Say, hey, Mike, stop talking about guns. This is ridiculous. I live in the United Kingdom and you guys are all a bunch of terrorists in the United States. No, fine. If you want to do that, I'm here to hear that. We're here to hear that. Again, the reason why we do it live is because it's called transparency. And the reason you can call in is because it's called transparency. And the reason why we do it live is because we want to include you. So don't feel like your opinion doesn't count. All those opinions count. Bring them in, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. You can find both of those on troubledminds.org. Let's get to the spitting hot alien fire. What do we got on deck? What are we doing, Ash?
Hey, you're choppy to me sometimes. I don't know if that's our software or is Mike choppy to you guys or is it just me?
Oh, hell no, it's just you. It's just you.
I sound good, right? Though.
Yeah, you sound good. You sound good. Man. Yeah, boy, you sound sexy. I tell you what, you're the sexiest reptilian I know. All right.
All right, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to lay you down and talk about some aliens.
Let's do some aliens. All right, so what do we got? So we talked about guns. We talked about some other crazy news. Let's talk about some crazier news. What's up with the aliens, Ash? What do we got here?
Okay, so basically the theme of tonight, and basically, guys, I've done a lot of research into my fellow alien peers, and the message I want to get out to you guys is that shit is crazy. And it's hard to understand. Like, whatever you think, you can't just take it at surface level. You got to kind of get into it. And there's some weird shit. It's weird. But, I mean, what did you expect? It's alien, right? And so you can't just understand this stuff right out. So I have a few stories here. And the narrative I'm kind of weaving, I'm trying to catch you guys up for, is that aliens are like Borg. They're like advanced. Remember those contact lenses? Yeah, I mean, that's if everyone's doing it, you'll probably do it too. And all of a sudden we all have bionic eyes, right? So imagine that like a million years. What are we going to look like? What's it going to be? So let's see here. Let's go with this article, gray aliens harvesting souls.
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, that's a good one. We
right,
got the aliens, guys.
You do that. I'm liking it. Here come the aliens. All right, you guys can relax now. We've dropped the guns. We've moved on to the aliens. Okay, so I'm linking this if you guys want to check it out. Reported by alienUFOsightings.com. And headline. Gray aliens and the harvesting of souls. The conspiracy to genetically tamper with humanity. So we've talked about this a little bit with the Anunnaki, right, and that sort of thing, where they've been here. Mm-hmm. They've been here a very long time, and they say that one of the let's do it like ancient aliens. Is it possible that aliens have been here for a very long time and they've genetically altered the code of earth-dwelling simian gorillas to turn into people? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes. All right, go ahead. There we go.
That was great, man. I felt like I was watching it. Right. There's a comment. I think Ash is drunk. I'm just high off adrenochrome. Sorry, guys. I'm saying stuff. That's a dark joke. All right. So so this article, I see all kinds of crazy shit, but I started reading it. I was like, whoa, this guy knows some stuff. So this is a very quick glimpse of this book. It's called Gray Aliens. Oh no, I'm sorry. The Conspiracy to Genetically Tamper with Humanity by Nigel Kerner. So I don't know if this whole blog thing is by him, but it's kind of like a quick glimpse of it. I have not read the book. I'm shilling for it based on this article, which was very well done. So that's the only shill I'm doing. So I have a tab open here. Let's see. Okay. So
do it. I got you. I'm pouring a beer. I'm just waiting for the spitting hot alien fire. All right. So we got genetically tampering with humanity from for how long ago? So I guess when did this start? Is this Anunnaki style or is this something different than that?
Yeah. Hold on.
All right, I'm holding on. I'm pouring a beer.
Okay,
let's read some chat. If you guys have comments on this, 702-957-1037. Go to troubledminds.org and you want to give us a call. Click the Discord link. I can't say it, and you can join the show and be on that way. I'll read the chat as much as we can. But So again, this is back to maybe the Anunnaki earlier, later. Do you guys really believe that this is a thing? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, but what do you say? That's more important than what they say. Like the nondescript group of people that they always say says yes. But what do you think? So they say there's a lot of tampering possibly with our DNA from alien sources or from the heavens, the sky gods, whatever, right? Like there's all that stuff, all the different ancient texts, religious texts of the world. They kind of point to the sky, and it makes you wonder, right? It's definitely curious and suspicious and worth talking about. You caught up there, Ash? How are we looking, buddy?
Yeah, you did a great job, man. That was really good filibustering.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So let's read it from this article. So it starts with the mere speculation that there might be some truth to the proposition of an extraterrestrial alien power in the affairs of humankind is an interesting sociological, philosophical question. Could conquering aliens be any more cruel to humankind than humankind has been to its own? Sad. Could they be arrogant enough to operate on the axiom that we have operated on as Homo sapiens? I guess that's how you say it. In relation to all other less intelligent animal species on the planet, dominating and using these species for our purposes so ruthlessly and cruelly whenever it suits us. So basically, the idea is like, okay, we eat chickens, right? And we don't really think about that. We don't morally there's a lot of vegans and stuff like that who play with that idea, but as on the whole, we subjugate lesser intelligent species, right? So even just like the dog, we all love the dog, but they're kind of like our slaves, and we don't really think about it that way. So who's to say aliens wouldn't think about us the same way, right? And so the idea is that the universe, there's a law called the second law of thermodynamics, which talks about entropy, that basically the universe is constantly breaking that down. Everything wants to kind of go into a chaotic state. And that in order to maintain your existence, you have to kind of like consume resources in order to keep your manifestation. Does that make sense? Does that sound smart? Do you know what I'm saying, Mike?
Yeah, so we have aliens happening here. We have. So wait. So what do they want though? I guess that's the question. But I need to know.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm getting there. I'm
Okay.
getting there.
So they're playing with DNA with our DNA. They're playing with our consciousness.
So just think about it this way, like I'm just throwing some concepts out there, so I'm priming you guys. So let's say there are aliens, right? They exist. Why are they not here? Why don't we know about it? Because maybe their survival depends on their existence being a secret. Maybe we're just a farm. Maybe we're just farm animals. Maybe they don't think about us like that. So let's move on to the second part.
Yeah, I get that part. So morally, aliens are not going to be like us. Like they're just not. I mean, there's some pretty depraved humans, but being from another planet, another world, this sort of thing, of course, you would expect them to not be in line with our moral values, right? Like even on the earth, from country to country, these things are like completely different, right? Like think of it this way. You can go down to a market in China, and you're like, I want that chicken, and they grab it by the neck, and they pull it out, and they all blam, and they chop its head off right there, and they're like, blam, blam, halfway clean it off, and put it in a bag, and here you go, right? And you're done, right? Like you can't get that here. Like you can, but you have to really kind of go, out to off the beaten path, right? And so imagine if it was like a human market in the same situation. You're like, yeah, I want Michael Strange, I want the fat one right there, the one hanging from his feet. Get him, right? Same sort of situation, right? Is that what we're talking about? Okay, so like they kind of don't really have a sense of morality like we do. Okay, I follow you.
Or maybe it is exactly the same, but we're just the chicken, right?
Yeah, and they don't give a shit about us whatsoever.
Right.
We're like ants.
So think about it that way. If they had the same morals as us, we're fucked. Basically,
yeah, well,
right?
That's true. Or this is the crazy part, right? The only way we're not is if they have more morals than us. Like if they're so morality bound that they don't come and get us. They're trying to like avoid collateral damage whatsoever and death to humans. But that doesn't seem to be the case, does it? So if they're equal or less moral in whatever measurement you want to make, that's just pretty frightening.
Well, the chicken on the farm, probably thinks the farmer's guy, or the cow, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I don't want to get too dark. So let's go on. Let's move on. So, the gray alien species. So, the gray is the common alien one. Guys, this is from his book. This is a very smart guy. I can tell by reading it. So this is kind of his hypothesis based on his research. So, but it seems to resonate. And I have some more data later on, right after this, and we'll corroborate. So, from most descriptions and account, there seem to be two types of gray alien entity: a tall variety that seems to be in command, and an almost identical shorter variety. I believe the tall ones were once upon a time natural functional presentation of the universe, as any other living species might be, whilst the short ones, I believe, the machines that they have manufactured in their likeness. My take on the tall grays is that they come from planets whose civilization is at the last stage of primary, highly intelligent, natural living entities become something catastrophically different: artificial, fully functional roboids. In other words, these civilizations have gotten to the point where the second law of thermodynamics and its corrosive effect profoundly changed these highest natural life forms. They've gradually devolved into a machine-type being. The tall grays.
So wait, let me break that down. So we talked about hell yeah, exactly. Holy shit. The second law of thermodynamics. You know what that is, guys? Entropy. And you know how I know that? Because we talked about that in that show with did the world end in 2012 with entropy, right? So things start, things end, right? They're born, they die, they decay. Those chemicals, they're reborn, right? It's that whole quantum immortality that kind of mixes in with the second law of thermodynamics, which is entropy. There we go. Fill in the blanks for you. All right, keep going, buddy.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah. So
you got it.
So basically, the tall grays are a super SIM card cyborg entities that have converted into this long ago. So imagine, you put the contacts in, right? Well, Elon Musk is already talking about putting a chip in your brain, and it's like, well, and there's this natural selection that's going to happen with technology especially in our society. You can map it out. Okay, so if you start genetically modifying ourselves, why wouldn't you be tall? So all of a sudden, there's going to be a generation of people who are tall, genetically modified, and then people who are not. and it's like, shit, well, I should have went for the modifications, and the modification people are going to slip ahead. If you could process information with a chip in your head, do math right on the fly, you're going to be more productive than a person who isn't. So there's like this lean in that direction. So he goes on to say that the grays, these tall grays, are the original species. They're the beings, and that they've slowly become so bionic that they're like barely alive, that they no longer have souls, that they are almost totally artificial beings. They have no sense of self, but their intelligence and motivation comes from a supplemental artificial quantum analytics compound synthesis program, devoid of biological sensory input. So they don't like, I forget where I learned this, but you're not actually guided. You're mostly guided by like your your subconscious system. So your gut bacteria will be like, I'm hungry. And then next thing you know, you're eating a burger and you're like, what the fuck? I didn't want to eat a burger. I want to eat a salad. Right. So Elon Musk talks about this. Your logic component, your critical thinking skills is actually a slave to your like biological need. Right. So this kind of species would start refactoring that shit out. And, you don't have, like, how much time do we spend on like trying to get laid, on Tinder and all this kind of stuff. Like you cut all that shit out and then you're just kind of like a machine. So you replace those what it means to be human, biological, with those things. And then all of a sudden, as a species, we can't really fucking read. If I replace myself with all this stuff, Mike wouldn't even be able to read my motivations anymore, right? It would be weird. And that's kind of like, imagine that going on for a while. So that's what makes this thing alien. So what do you think about that?
Okay. And so
is this too dense? Do you guys into this stuff?
No, this is good. Hold on. I'm breaking it down. So here we go. So the same thing exists for us. So we're talking about, saying that an alien civilization that's been around for, let's say, 1 million years. Let's just say 1 million. It's not multiple millions. It's not 1 billion. It's just let's say 1 million years. It's a lot of damn time, right? And so this is the thing. Imagine just the human race from the year 1900, right, the turn of the 20th century to now. It's an unbelievable amount of technology that we've built in. Some claim it's been aided or helped by extraterrestrial technology or this type of thing. But that doesn't even matter, because the fact that we can come from where we were to where we are now in like a couple hundred years, it's absurd. It's amazing. And so imagine 1 million years of that. Like, once you become technologically aware and realize that your eyesight sucks and you start putting those weird eyeballs in there like Google Glass that we talked about in the beginning, transhumanism begins to happen. And so instead of that entropy, that decay, we try and defeat that by changing parts of ourselves into mechanical, this or that. And so as we continue to do this and have the ability to do this, we turn ourselves, if we can somehow capture that consciousness and put it in a bucket or in a jar or in a hard drive, let's say, and then snap it into the R2-D2 that we become, like I've said that several times on the show, then what happens, right? We're like a car part. We're like a car that our alternator's bad. You roll into the mechanic, right? Like, you got your brain in this like a bulletproof bubble that's not even a brain anymore. It's your consciousness has been downloaded and put on a chip, and and you roll in and they fix your alternator and you're out of the garage, like whatever the hell's, or hell, you could even do it yourself, right? You got the DIYers that don't pay a mechanic. They're like, hell no, those guys overcharge the shit out of everything. Changing my own alternator, right? Like, these are the types of things where we are becoming. And so, like, right now, it seems silly that we're talking about this. It's like, oh, come on, roll your eyes, Michael Strange. What the hell are you talking about? This isn't there yet, but how close are we? Is it 10 years? Is it 20 years? Is it 50 years? Is it 100 years? And if it's in 20 years or 30 or 40 or 50 years, does it mean that we're at the point where we've actually achieved immortality for our consciousness? You see what I'm saying? And so, of course, given 1 million years of this same whatever it happens to be, whatever our pace of technology is from this point to then, that of course we somehow conquer death, right? We'd be able to do this. We defeat entropy in the organic sense. But then what do we do? What do we do? Again, all right, there we go. I think we're filling in the blanks. All right. So then what? So these guys have, so that they're able to do this. They're able to be cybernetic things and they communicate. So you're saying that these different alien races communicate with each other, or they're their own separate communication network? What are you implying here? What's the
in
book
this
say?
article? It talks about how these beings leverage other other species as kind of like the biology component to their mechanical. So we'll get into that. So let's introduce these kind of like small grays. So so the tall grays who have SIM carded themselves, so to speak, in a robo whatever state from their previous natural one, now interface well with a mechanically manufactured smaller version made in their image and likeness. The smaller version is entirely artificial, highly sophisticated robot machine manufactured by the tall grays and made in a mercury mulch on a scaffolding of fine gold wires, designed with a body mass able to survive the huge sudden inertial changes of force necessary for traveling the vast distances of space. The ideal form to survive the phenomenal deceleration needed to travel beyond light speed and slow down to the gravitational dictates of planetary or orbital and landing. So basically, it's like if we went into space, we would suck. We'd die. It's like so inefficient and ineffective to send us into space. So at some point, they cross the line where they don't care about, they don't really morally think about it that way. And they created a subspecies that can survive in space, but they created it from their own, and they're manufactured. So it's like they're making their like people. And so, I read a comment in the chat that said, the little ones are the kids and the tall ones. Who knows? That could be the case, but they're made. They make themselves, and they've kind of left their biology behind. And so there's nothing here. There's nothing here on this planet. So why are they here? The only thing that's here is us, biology, right? That's the only resource they can. I mean, there's resource. The universe is vast. So what would they want here? It would be biology. It would be genetics. So
or consciousness or whatever. Again, so that's the question, right? So imagine, is there some degradation of your consciousness as you? So let's say we begin transhumanism. We start replacing body parts with mechanical parts, and then it ends up we've found a way to transfer every bit of our neurons into something else, a chip or a hard drive or whatever it is, and we become these robots, right? So then what? What happens? And is it possible that without that organic material happening, without the blood flow that brings the whatever from the whatever to the whatever, that we're actually losing part of our consciousness? Is that possible? That we turn into more of a generic entity that's more like every other generic entity, and we have less outliers? Is that possible? And is that maybe what's happening here? Is that kind of what he's getting at? Maybe it seems
that's
like
exactly. Yeah, that's where we're going. So so why are they here? This is kind of where it gets a little woo-woo, but when I looked into the abduction phenomenon, I really freaking wanted to know, and I'm confident, you can never be 100%, that this is kind of on the right track. And during abductions, weird shit happens where there's like something about a soul, whatever that means, whatever that means. I don't really know. In religions they call it one thing, and in science you could say it's some sort of transdimensional, multidimensional, who knows, whatever. But there's some sort of like soul aspect going on, and whether it's like just when your DNA is passed on, all your memories are supposedly coded into your DNA, so you're having an experience across generations. There's all this like knowledge and history in there. Is that what they want? Is it the soul? So let me read a little bit about this. Well, maybe we can get into it.
All right, shoot. Let me couple quick shout outs. So I see you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uko88, I see you on Mixer. Thanks for showing up, man. I see you there. I typed at you, but I actually see you. Ingrid, Sherry, Brandon, Lemon, thanks for being active in chat there, guys. Appreciate that. Thomas says, you will wake up in the technology abyss with your consciousness merged with the singularity. You will have godlike intelligence. but with the wrong god.
Ooh.
Thomas, you're the man. Dale says it's all an illusion of one's perception, Mike. 3D, it's a holographic dimension based on collective human belief codes. There we go. We got a call coming in. We'll take that in just a sec. Great chat, guys. Keep it coming in. Ingrid says we won't longer look human. We already have people trying to look like kittens, cats, lizards, etc. Yeah, that's the damn truth. Before we even get there, we're already trying to do that shit to ourselves, without any actual benefits that are like technological. Anyway, okay, yeah, we're gonna take this call in just a sec as it does its thing. Christian, I didn't forget about you. What's up? What's up? There we go. Penny, shout out to Penny too. I forgot. How could I forget Penny? Penny Bunny, follow Penny Bunny on YouTube. She's good stuff. So there we go. What's up, Penny? Thanks for joining us. An hour earlier, in part because of you, in part because of the East Coasters that have to stay up so freaking late for this show. We appreciate that a lot. Okay, so here we go. We'll take this call. Anything else to drop in there real quick before the call, or you want to scan some of that while we go? What do you think? What do you think, Ash?
I mean, do you want me to wrap it up? Or
No. I think if we get a lot more, we'll just continue with this, right? Because we probably got about 45 minutes before we kill this. So if we have enough to
there's
go,
a little bit more, and then I want to get to some fucking remote viewing of pyramids and shit. That's fun to be fun too. So okay, we still have to get to Skinwalker, right? So,
Skinwalker. Is it possible to chop out the? Is it possible to chop out remote viewings and we'll do pyramids another time, or does it relate to what you're talking about?
It does relate. I can cut it short, and I'll do a longer. We'll do a quick version.
Okay, so. Perfect. Let's take this phone call. Prep that quick version. We're going to take the phone call, and then we'll finish with Skinwalker. All right, here we go. Let's do this.
Hi, Christian. I see you.
There you go.
Way.
See.
Hello.
There you go. What's up, Christian?
Not forget about you.
There you go. We don't forget about you guys. There we go. Okay, so here we go. We're taking this is Kelly, and we're taking this call. And again, prep it up there, Ash, so we can finish up and then move on to Skinwalker. All right, Kelly, you're on Troubled Minds with Mike, and I don't think Ash can hear you, but and you can't hear him. So what's happening, my man? How are you tonight?
Doing good. Just listening in again, same as usual.
Nice.
I just wanted to. I was listening to you guys' this last one that Ash was talking about, what brought up about the aliens, about the grays. Yeah, I just have a somewhat of a theory on that as well. Because I'd be obviously, you guys know me. I do a lot of research on this, but from what I gather, I would say this would be one of my theories about the alien grays. Now the short ones, I would believe that is true. What you guys were saying that these are created beings. So like say if we were trying to do deep space, right? And it takes, even if you do jump in through like universes or galaxies, through wormholes or through I've also seen the one I was trying to talk about where the physicist talks about that they're using the suns as jump gates to travel through space. But if you're a species and was able to do that, let's say you have a mothership and then you have smaller ones. Say you can't, your body doesn't agree with the constructs of the planet that you're visiting. Say like different gravity or you want to create some kind of a sentient being to go down there, not like a robot per se, but like, even if it is like these alien gray, the small ones, I would believe that they'd come down here, they're like half robot or half, living tissue. You want to go down there and you want, let's say you want to check out the species that you're looking at. So that would be smart to send down something besides, the tall grays. So people say that been abducted, they get abducted by the small ones and taken up to the ship to see the big ones. Now, the reason why I would say that they were here is because that it'd probably be genetics to probably help themselves out. You know what I mean? Because, again, the human species, if you go by the Anunnaki theory that we're not even supposed to be here as human beings, as a what's the word that they call us now? As I lost train of thought right now, but
I call us.
um,
Every time I turn on CNN or Fox News, I just smack myself in the face and say we're idiots. So we'll just go with that. How about that? We're idiots.
no, like as in as a human, as a modern human now, right? So Homo sapiens sapiens.
Oh yeah,
So if you have
Homo
if you're
sapiens.
trying-
Good enough. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so if you're trying to do, let's say, okay, we're not even supposed to be here, but the human body and being integrated with the Anunnaki as their type of species, right? Their DNA. So if they're integrated with, if we have our DNA, we have to be somewhat special. Because if you look at what we can do as the ability of a human being, we're actually doesn't realize, or we forgot how powerful we actually are. Because if you look at some of the stuff that we're able to do with, like, even meditation, you know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty sure that other species or another species maybe have taught us that. But if you look at what we can do, just for example, like the rainbow, like the Hindus or the Buddhists believe, when you believe in all the happy thoughts and whatnot, meditate, you become I guess you ascend to the rainbow. I don't know what's called a rainbow warrior, but you ascend, right? So, and you have the ability that, these people that have ascended to the rainbow, that they can put their hands through rock, their feet through rock, like anything. They could put your hand through any kind of type of material, like anything that's material-wise. Yeah, you can
just matter, just regular old matter. Matter.
Yeah, you can
yeah.
change your matter or your frequency to go through walls or whatnot. See, and they even have proof of this. Even China they've had a test where they were trying to find out, and this was back in the 80s, 1980s, when they were trying to find out, like, a human have, like, human powers or whatnot. And you have also the one that the show they started about human abilities, the extreme abilities we can do. So if we can do some stuff like that, that's just basic. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff, we have forgot. But if you think about it, and now if you're a species, and now if they're here to, like, try to take over this planet, they would already have done that, because their ability to have technology to run through the universe. We don't even have that. We're, like, still crawling. We're not even walking yet compared to what the universe is out there. So if they're here, let's say they're here and they're trying to, like, prolong their life using the human species, or because the Anunnaki already had, you know what I mean? We were like a vessel for other species to maybe, continue on, just like Toph says, where he can, like, more or less, he mastered death, or he can no longer die, where he was like a reincarnation of three different ones, where he put his soul into another vessel, was what they were calling it.
Okay, I see. So, all right. So then, so point being that we have the talls, we have the short grays, right? So, like you were saying in the beginning there, and they're cybernetics of some sort, right? Do you agree with that? Like, the little guys are probably like robots.
Correct.
They send down first, and then they do their whatever
Yes.
they do. They do the cattle things, or the quote sleep paralysis, or whatever's going on. They do the abductions, and they take them up to the tall grays, which are actually more of the actual physical entity beings, right? It's kind of what you're saying. And then from
Correct.
there,
Yeah.
what do they want is the question. I think that kind of puts us in that weird spot of what the hell do they want? What do you think they want, Kelly? What do you think the bottom line is?
That's what no one really could say. I've listened to many different people that have been abducted, and I may have been too, but I just need to do like a get hypnotized and try to do a revert back for it, because of some of the situations. I have a long story. I kind of brought some of it out, but like if one night I might bring it all out and talk about that. But the thing about it is like, if you hear all these different type of theories, some of these ones that they're talking about, like the ones that could be from, if you're saying anything else besides anyone that's actually kind of doing tests on us, if you look at it, it'd be the grays, or the tall grays, or what you want to call anything that was kind of like those type of species or the reptilian. You know what I mean? Because if you listen to some of these stories, that's what most of them are talking about, is that, hey, they're they're trying to give you, like, they abduct you, they take you up to a spaceship, they do run tests on you. They take DNA, obviously. They're going to take human female eggs. They take men's sperm, and they're going to do tests, and they're going to try to integrate the DNA or try to unlock what we have as humans to make us special as human beings that we are now, created from, let's say, the Anunnaki or jumped.
Which again, like I said, so kind of your point then is that we're special somehow, and they want something we have, and whether that's consciousness or whether that's some sort of like maybe supercharged DNA from the Anunnaki, we don't know what that is, but they're after something we have that they don't. Right? That's kind of the point here.
Correct. Because if even if you look at the Anunnaki, what do they want from us? They, obviously we were meant for something, until they started doing tests on us and finding out that, hey, you know what I mean? So if you look through a history too, and if you look at changed history books like the Bible, okay, let's go to that. And if you go inside the Bible and they tell you that, hey, man, I lost train of thought on that one too. But on, like, say, the Bible, they talk about how, we're special, and that the angels were upset, like the fallen angels or whatever, because we were like a better creation or something. And that is the reason why they're trying to. We don't know. I would say it'd be something to the effect that we are, it's, like I said, our DNA, or and they're like the reptilians. If the stories are correct with them, if they're trying to keep us all in a stage of being scared, the negative that they feed off of that, maybe they, if these beings also can do that as well, who knows what else they could have? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's the question. That's why we're having this conversation. Like, it's impossible to say because we don't know. We don't have access to that hive mind or whatever's going on there. But it's definitely worth talking about, and good stuff, man. We got a couple things to get to yet. Anything else to wind this up there, Kelly? Well, as you know, we'll continue this conversation. So we're not totally cutting you off, but we got to move on.
No. I that's fine. I just wanted to come in and kind of give my opinion on that one, or my theories on some of those, but. And this is the thing. The reason why I say that is because if you look at other people that talk about, like, say, the guy who was what was his name? He was over in Europe, and he said he had in contact with the people from the Palladians, and they looked more like humans. Now, you'd never heard anything else of them taking us away, doing tests on us and stuff like that. That they're more or less here to protect the Earth from these other beings that are doing this type of stuff. Now, why is that? That's another question. You know what I'm saying? If the Greys are the only ones and the reptilians are only the ones that are doing these tests, why not the ones from Syria or Palladians?
Yeah, or exactly everywhere else. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a lot of places here, a lot of alleged alien species from different spots in the different galaxies and stuff. I'm with you, man. It's impossible to parse because we have so much information that seems to make sense, but then a lot of the information we get also seems to not make sense with some of the other. It's like a big jumble of who the hell knows. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know, man. Again, like, this is a conversation we'll continue to have. I appreciate all this, man. You're the best, Kelly. If again, let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know when you want to do the show. What other show you got? We appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll send you some information on the show.
Thanks, Kelly, man.
I would like
it's
to.
Good to hear from.
About,
good stuff.
About symbolism.
That's one sec. Ash, 1 sec.
About history about that.
Sorry. Almost done. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Do send that stuff on Discord, and we'll get you set up with the show next. Sorry, he can't hear you, so he's talking over you.
All right.
Appreciate that, Kelly. That's Kelly. That's our man from Colorado. Appreciate it, Kelly. Thanks for calling in. Again, you guys You're welcome. 702-957-1037. There you go. There's the phone number. We got some stuff to get to there. I know Ash heard a bunch of that. And yeah, I mean, that's really the conversation here. That's the conversation we're having. So we take the premise of, many people say that aliens exist and they're among us. They say that they've made contact through abduction phenomena and other things. But the question is, what do they want from us? That's the question. So, so go ahead there, Ash. Sorry, Bob.
I think what I'm really happy about is that just even 5 years ago, everyone was going in all different sorts of directions with kind of like what is the narrative, right? But I think we honestly are honing in on what's going on, and things are starting to make sense. And whatever this group is, they're hybridizing. They're coming here and they're making human hive members. Whatever. They're just basically like the Borg, the hive. What are their motivations? Well, this guy has some theories. So let me wrap this up. And so I want to preface it with the soul. Again, we're not sure what the soul is. If you're a more scientific kind of person, what does that mean? Who knows? But just because it's not within your immediate reality doesn't make it not true, right? So yeah, let me just wrap up with this book. You can feel free to check it out or buy it. It's called The Conspiracy to Genetically Tamper with Humanity by Nigel Kerner. And this is his attempt as to answer that question of why. So this section is called Parasites and Soul Stealers. Ooh, it's like demons, right? It's basically demons from the Bible. So the tall grays are completely artificial intelligence, now in their SIM card form, because they're almost purely autonomous. I do suspect that they do have a smattering of DNA, thus a record of their former selves. Just a little bit of kind of what they used to be, but not enough to reproduce naturally and have a soul line of connection to the Godverse. Their soul, the reincarnation, the what do they call it? We're in a computer, right? The computer simulation. Maybe it's set up to have a soul universe or whatever. But they do have a background sense of what they once were through this, but they are unable to bridge to the centermost point of the Godverse, Godhead. I don't really know exactly what this means, but they are stuck forever in an enforced universe of parts. Their immortality has to be artificially, mechanically produced one. So they may be seeking our alternative, this one that gives us our naturally living humanity the possibility of existing on an internal scale beyond the atom. So basically, they may well be seeking to piggyback, so to speak, on our individual lines of connection to the Godverse. In other words, they might be stealing our souls to append them to us without our knowledge.
Right. So that goes back to like Kelly was saying. So there's something special about us that they need, even though they're technologically advanced. Like maybe I suggested previously, maybe we have this situation where the more transhuman we become and the more mechanical and less organic, we lose something of our, maybe the consciousness or the soul or whatever it is. And maybe we're at that point in human evolution where we're really at that tipping point where maybe our consciousness or our soul or whatever it happens to be is at that sweet, it's ripe, it's ready, like it's at its most ripe, because we're not going to gain any more consciousness. We're only going to lose it as we add robot parts to ourselves, right? Something like that.
No, that's a good point. Like, maybe we're about to go the technical route they went. So this is like the peak of natural, like soul humanity, right? Like of being human. That's a good point.
Exactly. Okay. Shout out to Loki. I see you there, buddy. Loki 187 on Mixer. Yeah, we're live, man. We're live. Ace, what's up? I didn't say hi. Let's see. Lemon, I did say hi. Everybody, Ingrid. Okay. Thanks for sticking with us. Okay. So yeah, there we go. So let's chop out the pyramids, and unless you got anything else on this, and then we'll add the pyramids for a later time, and let's do a Skinwalker, because we're supposed to get the Skinwalker tonight, and we're gonna go long already with that. So if you want to squeeze in the pyramids, go ahead. Just make it fast.
Let's just do one of the clips. It's like 2 minutes at the most. So
all right,
it'll be 5 minutes total.
Okay. That's fine.
Let me send it to you.
Perfect. All right, let's do it. So this is a remote scene. I'll let Ash go ahead and explain this as I pull up the link here. But okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, it's a remote viewing. So check out this farsite.org. So this is part of that whole soul thing. Like, how the hell can we remote view? That's us connected to our soul. That's our superpowers, right? Whatever the hell that is. And so he's using his superpowers to look back in time. And this is a validation. This guy doesn't believe in any of this shit. He's just a remote viewer. And this is what he gets. And it just confirms everything we're talking about. Completely separate data point. Nothing to fucking do with it. It's about the pyramids. And it just hones right in with this guy's theory. So yeah, I sent it to you in a minute.
Okay, got it. I'm putting it up. 4550. We're gonna go with this.
This is a good one. You guys should watch. If you get the chance, you'll be like, it'll be pretty fun view. We'll do a video on it later.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Well, that's the problem, right? There's so much stuff here that we just can't do it all. There's so many tangents, but we will get to all this stuff at some point. And again, if you guys haven't done it, I saw a couple of you join the Discord. Please do. Troubledminds.org is the official website. Join the Discord. Get in here. Tell us what you want to hear about, because we can talk. As you can see, we can go way out there and we can talk about aliens. We can go way right here in the States and talk about rights and guns. We did it in the same show, and then we're going to do Skinwalker Ranch and some Skinwalkers. So the thing is, we're all over the place, because you know what? You can't be confined to just one damn thing, right? You can't be like, oh, we're the conspiracy show, we're the paranormal show, we're this show, that show. We're just aliens. No. Because why? Then you're a religion. You're a fucking weirdo. You have to be able to talk about all the things, or some of the things anyway, and combine them. And here's where we are. Here's what we're doing. Right. So that's part of it. So here we go. So 45. One more time. What's that timestamp, Ash?
45. It's 45:50.
50.
And then it go to like 46:30 or something.
Okay, 45. Okay, we're gonna play this. So here's a. This is a video of there's some sort of a remote scene happening and this has a link to the pyramids and the alien connection we were just talking about. So here we go. Playing this, linking it if you guys want to check it out, and action.
Okay. These are it's like they don't have souls. They're just grown in a solution.
Oh, you gonna play the video?
To be
I'm playing the video, man. I'm playing the video.
Engineered robots.
It's going. You can't hear him, sorry.
And if they have a soul, it's a very primitive soul, like just enough to animate it, but not enough to give it aspirations and humanity. It would be like a way lower life form.
Okay, so the aspirations to humanity would be a way lower life form, is what he just said there. That's the end of the clip there. So he's basically, that's what he's saying, right? So there's some sort of connection here with humanity and the aliens, and we don't know what that is because we're not aliens. but it seems that they have an interest in us, doesn't it? Doesn't it seem that way? What's up, Johnson? I see you on YouTube. Thanks for showing up. I mean, yeah, you with us, Ash? What's up, buddy? Copy 1 2. Copy
I'm back.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, sorry. I was watching.
That's all right. That's all right.
Is there? Do you want to do another minute, or are you good?
Yeah, go. Go ahead and follow it up.
43. I'll go to 43. Just 43 to 44.
Okay, 43 to 44. We're going to play this. And so again, this is the alien link to the Farside Institute, 43 to 44. And let's see, here we go. And action. We're going to play this. I did link this if you guys want to check it out. Again, as always, all of these links will be underneath in YouTube. Eventually, when it goes up on the webpage, troubleminds.org, all the links are there. We always include the links no matter what. So we don't exclude anything. If we're talking about it, we give you our sources so you can go follow up. We're not making this shit up. This is what somebody else said, and that's why we're talking about it. So here we go. And action.
Molten stuff is there. It's sizzling and steaming and emitting noxious gases. This is a very unhealthy place. This is a bad environment. And they're bred to be here. They can handle it, but only for a little while, because they it's like they've got a part of their DNA that allows them to slough off or absorb or somehow be in this environment, and they degrade, but not as fast. There's a degradation, so after a while they become useless. So they're programmed, and they come here, and it feels like mining or terraforming, building something deep underground that is, and it might involve mining, tunneling with fusing rock, melting it literally.
Okay, so he's not even sure what they're after, it seems like. So he says clones, genetic modification here, and he's saying they're here. And so they're these like we mentioned previously a couple times now. It seems like if they're here, right, like given the premise that they're here, we're gonna take that because we're those guys, right? We're the guys on the internet that'll say it, or we'll entertain the idea that they're here. And if they are, and they're some sort of cybernetic, or they're clones, or they're transhuman, or transalien, or whatever they are, then they're here trying to terraform. And he really couldn't say, like he was trying to say the Earth, but I think he was getting at something a little more spiritual. Yeah, and it kind of seemed like what he was talking about there.
Yeah, that was it's just so I should have probably said something a little more information. Basically, he was remote viewing the pyramids and different targets involved with it. So he was remote viewing the workforce, and he saw humans like moving stone with sort of advanced technology. And basically, the narrative is there was the gods or aliens that through the pharaohs or whatever the leaders were as a proxy were endowing humans with technology to build the pyramids on the aliens' behalf. But the stones were carved in another location by this alien workforce. And he says that they were grown as a crop. So this is back then. So these grays were like literally like, pop them in the oven, out comes workforce slaves. Right, like, and and then later on, that's the earlier clip we saw, that they're not really human. They don't have humanity to them. They're a lower life, and they're just grown like a crop. And that's one of the things that was made the pyramids. And at the top of that hierarchy was a mantis being, and that guy's never fucking seen that shit before in his life. So he had nothing to do with any of this stuff. He's just a remote viewer and stumbled into it, and it just more validation, right? And who's to say that those grays are like just all the aliens? Maybe there's different groups, maybe there's a hive, but they got like workers they just pop in the oven, or maybe they became sentient and they became their own civilization. Who knows? But back in the day, they were just pop in the oven. These small ones, and they would work underground and they break down. And they would just be like, well, whatever, we'll grow a new one. Right? Like, they died, whatever, new one.
Yeah, they let them break. They just let them break. So you know what? That lines
Crazy
up
stuff.
perfectly with the Anunnaki story. So they came, they supposedly genetically engineered us to become this worker tribe, the Igigi, they're called. Learned that from Kelly. Shout out to Kelly and Todd. These guys that are Anunnaki experts, but this is the thing, right? There seems to be some sort of a synchronicity with this, like these stories kind of mesh. And so whether they're cybernetic or they're not, or they're, monkeys with their DNA changed, whatever that happens to be, an alien race came here, they made like a worker class, and then this worker class in the Anunnaki story was to mine gold, right? Because they needed gold to fix their atmosphere on Nibiru, right? On planet X. So it's weird, right? Like some weird synchronicities here. And so that was a remote viewer. He went back and he go ahead,
sorry.
And just to really quick wind that up. So the remote viewer there is basically saying he went to check out what happened in the pyramids when they were building it, and as a result, this is what he saw. And he said they were aliens, and they were cybernetic maybe, but they were definitely like a class that was built or bred to be these slaves, right?
Yeah, they were like basically bionic machines. And what's interesting is you bring up the Anunnaki. Back when the Anunnaki, they could have made us, right, as slaves, and then used us as a workforce, did the flood, wipe it out, and then they felt bad. They're like, dude, this is kind of fucked up. Like, we can't be making like intelligent slaves like this. And then there was like a cultural shift. There was a Martin Luther King of humans, who's like, that you can't, this is messed up. And then they shifted their model to this gray model that doesn't have a because they felt like it was more moral or whatever, or more efficient. Let's say maybe they're not as moral, and that's what they run with. And they even made that thing from us, so we're actually related to this. And so now that wind ahead to now they can just interchange our DNA with this new being they created. So they're doing another project right now. And it's just another project, but it's our kind of like waking up first experience with aliens. So it's freaking weird. So anyway,
I see.
Yes.
So what you're saying is it was the project then was the pyramids or whatever they were working on. Now we don't even know what that project is, but we are awakening to there may be this project. And we have the internet. We have like there's new means of electronic communication this day and age. And as a result, we're actually maybe waking up to this by sharing this information, right? But we don't know what that project is, right? That's kind of the end here.
Right. Yep. It could be complete integration. It could be total world domination. And that goes back to if they're bionic, we may not even be able to understand their motivation. So this could be the reason why the government has a rap on it, because they don't fucking know either. They're like, or maybe they do know and they're in on it and they don't. Who knows? So
who knows?
And that's the part that's creepy.
That's the worst. The worst is not knowing, isn't it? The worst is not knowing.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So there we go. That winds up spitting hot alien fire. And I think, hopefully we started with gun control in Virginia. And now we're like spitting hot alien fire with winding in the Anunnaki and some cybernetic organisms that were maybe brought by the tall grays. And Lord knows, who knows. You all heard that. I don't have to repeat it all, but holy shit, right? Okay. So there we go. There we go. That's the show. But we're not done yet. You got a little bit of time, Ash? 20 minutes or so? Let's finish this bitch. Let's do, if you got time, if you don't, I'm finishing it anyway. We're going to do this. Skinwalker
That's all
Ranch.
you, baby. You do it. Let's go camp there and live stream from Skinwalker Ranch.
Skinwalker Ranch. Yeah. All right. So here's the thing. So we did a show on Skinwalker Ranch a while back. If you haven't seen it, go to troubleminds.org. Go find the YouTube page. It's on the YouTube page. The thing is with Skinwalker Ranch. Do you know what okay, so I did the research here. So what do you know about a Skinwalker, Ash? What is a Skinwalker? We'll start it that way, and then we'll dig into what this is. What's a Skinwalker, baby? You there? Or did you just bounce?
Wait.
Did you just put your headphones down?
No, okay, I thought it was rhetorical.
No. What is it? What do you know about a Skinwalker? Just real quick.
Yes. Yeah. So the Skinwalker name comes from Native American population, where there was like a being or an entity that like lived amongst on Earth here, and they knew there was something freaky about this thing, and it could change form. And so if you like really get into the story, it's scary as shit, and like who knows what it is. They didn't really know, so they just kind of over time, their culture, they came up with rules and how to engage it, what it can do and can't do, and that's the Skinwalker. And some of these recent events happened at the Skinwalker Ranch that kind of like started leaning in that Skinwalker direction, right? It's like whatever they were talking about, now it's the same thing that we're talking about now. Maybe not.
Maybe, exactly. Okay, right? So that's a good sum up. That's a good sum up. So here's the thing, right? So what Ash is talking about there is there's a native population here in the United States, like in many places in the world. There's a native population that moved in a long time ago, and they've been here for a long time. At Skinwalker Ranch, everybody's heard of this. Most people have heard of this. It's called that because they have these entities known as skinwalkers, and they're shapeshifters in one way or another. And they've been around for a very long time, and they've been talked about in these old native traditions. Okay, and now this particular thing, Skinwalker Ranch, was purchased. I want to say about 8 or 10 years ago by none other than Bob Bigelow, right? Robert Bigelow of Bigelow Aerospace, which seems to have his hands in everything, right? He's looking into. If he owned this ranch, say 8-10 years ago, I don't know the exact dates. He was doing research in Skinwalker Ranch for what reason? Who knows? It seems to have some connection with maybe the Skinwalker itself, with portals to other dimensions, with like wormholes of light that people are crawling into, with maybe an alien phenomenon where you get lights in the sky that just show up randomly above your head, and they shine so bright that you get it's so bright you put your hand up to block the light and you can see your bones through the light. Like these are the types of things that are happening at Skinwalker Ranch and have been reported by many people, right? And so this is the thing. So Jeremy Corbell, what's his name? George Knapp. Like these guys in the UFO community, they've done reporting on this. They've done a movie on this. And like these guys are connected, right? And it seems to be, and again, back to Bob Bigelow of Bigelow Aerospace. Now, this is where it starts. If you don't know anything about this story, that's kind of what this is about. They said they bought this ranch. Bob Bigelow did, a billionaire, located here in Vegas. I'm in Vegas, by the way. And so they bought this because they were trying to get to the bottom of the Skinwalker phenomenon, right? Okay, so this continues. So that's just go back and watch the Skinwalker Ranch episode. There's all kinds of things, right? There's shape changers, there's this or that, there's everything. There's all kinds of craziness.
Weird.
It's freaking weird.
Predator was in there.
Yeah, exactly.
A freaking triangle UFO landed, and she could see like this military worker sipping coffee, right? Like watching her. Maybe he forgot to turn the cloaking on. I have a theory about that, which I think nails it. So we can get to that later.
Okay. So here we go. So that, again, we're not going to get into the entire story. Go back and watch the Skinwalker Ranch episode, and we talked about a lot of this stuff. Like there's video footage and there's all kinds of stuff. Find it on YouTube. TroubleMinds.org. Click the YouTube link. You know where to find it. Okay, but here's the thing. Now there's new information that just came out in the last 3 or 4 months. Okay, and there's a couple whistleblowers that worked for Bigelow Aerospace and actually spent time as an employee doing interesting things, doing experiments, doing research on Skinwalker Ranch for the Bigelow BAS. Oh, let me read some of this. All right, so this is reported by UFOchronicles.com. And check this out. This is crazy. What's up, Sith Lord Sting? Good. Sith Lord Sting, I see you there on Mixer. Yeah, hey, okay, so here's the thing. So this is getting good. I'm linking this stuff if you guys want to check it out. Now, this gets crazy. So that's the story of the Skinwalkers. However, there's a couple whistleblowers that have come out and said, we worked for Bob Bigelow. We spent years on the ranch, and here's what's happening. So I'm going to read this right off the article. I linked it. 2 men who state they formerly worked on Robert Bigelow's Skinwalker Ranch are expressing concerns they were unwitting research subjects during their employment. Chris Marks and Chris Bartell took to social media and podcasts to voice claims they experienced paranormal-like events at the ranch and that they underwent medical tests that they now suspect involved research lacking their medical and fully informed consent. Marks suggested legal action may be forthcoming. Here we go, quote from Chris Marks. The more insight into OSAP and the ranch, the more clear it gets. Got a hold of the medical studies conducted without consent I'm about to publish and go legal. The empire is about to fold for good. And this is Chris Marks. That was October 11th, 2019 is when this is kind of rolling out, right? Been a few months, 3, 4, 5 months when this stuff happened. And he says that so there's some podcasts. Erica Lukes is one, if you guys know her. Another one that did it was John Greenwald Jr. from the Black Vault. Chris Marks was on his show. So I'll link all that stuff as well so you guys can follow up. The story is too big to really go into. It is a big freaking story. The guy has amazing firsthand accounts. He says he has nearly 1,000 photographs. He has all of his handwritten notes that he took while he was at Skinwalker Ranch of the actual investigations he did. Like he was literally a man on the scene, and many times there alone by himself, following these protocols. So anyway, there we go. That's how this starts, right? If you guys are familiar with Skinwalker Ranch, the Skinwalkers, that whole bit, this is what's happening now. Okay, so there we go. So there's the first. Now here's the next. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, let's do that. So here we go. So this is from Erica Luke's Twitter, and I'm gonna link this, and you guys can check this out. But I'll zoom it in so you can see it as well. Now, they were given specific instructions. These employees that worked for Bigelow Aerospace, right? When they went to Skinwalker Ranch and different things they should be doing, right? And I can't detail them all. We'll do an entire show on this. I've been trying to find this Chris Marks fellow and trying to invite him on the show, but he doesn't seem to have the social media. You have to go through Erica Lukes somehow. So I don't know. I'm gonna see if I can find this guy and get him on the show because his stories are phenomenal. The things he says happened to him on this ranch. Like I said, the light that he could see his bones through his hand that just appeared above his head, like 5 feet above his head, that was his personal story. And so these are the types of things that happen there a lot. Okay, so anyway, so here we go. I'm linking this, and you guys can check it out. But so this is an interesting document from BAASS, which is what is this called? Hold on, it's right here somewhere. I'll find it. BASS is it's a research arm of Bigelow Aerospace. It's like Bigelow Aerospace. Anyway, I'll link it in the thing. I can't remember. A lot of things to remember tonight. Okay, so here we go. Check this out. So here's an interesting document from his when he worked for that organization, BAASS, at Skinwalker Ranch, and this is from Chris Marks. This is an actual paper that they gave to him when they told him to go find EVPs at Skinwalker Ranch, right? They told him what to do, how to do it. I'm going to read some of this. This is absurd and insane. So imagine, his brief story is he went in, he was a veteran, he got out of the military, he applied for a job where they were looking for veterans. He got contacted by somebody, said, we want an interview. He was like, okay. He didn't even realize who it was. They gave him an address and a time. He went. They met him at gunpoint because he went in the wrong door. He interviews, doesn't know what he's interviewing for. A couple weeks later, they call him and say, you got the job. He's like, what am I doing? They send him to Skinwalker Ranch with instructions like this. Now check this out. So this is February 16th, 2011, EVP guidelines for Utah Ranch. It says Utah Ranch, but it's Skinwalker, okay? And it's EVP is electronic voice phenomenon. We all know that, right? Like the ghost hunters guys that beat their chest at Zach Baggins and go, we're the ghosts, and they take the electronic, right? That's that. Okay, now look at some of this. Suggested location, Homestead 2, right? It says you should have 2 digital recorders with you. Test both and make sure both are functional before you leave the double wide, right? There's a trailer they stayed in. It was called Homestead 2. Continues. Carry several sets of spare batteries for the digital recorders with you, right? Normal stuff, right? Like whatever, be prepared, etc. This gets crazy in a sec. Stick with me. Place the digital recorder a few feet away from you, close enough that you can easily verify that it is still recording. Check every few minutes that the batteries have not drained. Follow that? Check every few minutes that the batteries have not. Why would your fresh batteries that you just checked when you left the trailer be dead now? All right, there's some crazy stuff going on here. It continues. Organize. Write down all of your questions before you leave the double wide. Questions, right? The questions for the EVP sessions. You need to maximize the chances that the entity will record sound on the digital recorder. Keep your questions very short and very simple. Do not wait more than 30 to 45 seconds before going on to the next question. At the end of the communication session, do not play back the recorder until you leave Homestead 2 and are back in the double wide after the session, right? Again, this continues. It's about to get nuts. Okay, make sure that you deliver the digital recorder to Lauren Huffman or Colm Kelleher immediately you return from the ranch. All right, so he has to turn this information in. It continues. Make sure you have several digital recorders on hand at the ranch in case one or more malfunctions. Right, like what the hell's going? Like we got some serious situations going on here. Right, you're like electronics just die, batteries just drain. It continues. The following are sample questions. However, make sure you are flexible, and if the entity produces answers that lead you down another path, follow that path. Okay,
oh, no, fuck that.
I'm going to say that one more time.
No.
I'm saying that one more time. All right, we're talking about...
I quit. I'm done. I'm
exactly, right? So this guy got hired. Yeah, he was hired. He spent 6 years on the ranch, most of it by himself. Sometimes he had a partner there, most times not. Okay, now check this out. I'm going to read that one more time, then we're going to move into some of the questions. Again, this is Bigelow Aerospace hiring people to go do EVP sessions, electronic voice phenomena, at Skinwalker Ranch, right? Okay, so here we go. One more time. The following are sample questions. However, make sure you are flexible, and if the entity provides answers, produces answers that lead you down another path, follow that path. And here's some of the questions you should be asking. Ready? What is your last name? Can you spell your name? Are you human? Are you less than 20 years old? Are you more than 20 years old? Do you live on the ranch property? Are you alone? How many others are with you? Did you used to live on this property? Did you die on this property? If so, how did you die? How old were you when you died? What year did you die? How can we help you? Do you need companionship? Right, here's right EVP sessions, right? Bring extra batteries, check your thing to make sure it doesn't die, batteries draining. There's some heavy duty shit going on here, right? They hired this guy, didn't tell him what he was doing, sent him out there. This is his list of instructions, right? And they did other shit. They did like Ouija board sessions. Like he went out and found like ghost wolves. It is unbelievable, this stuff. We'll get into this another time. I'm still trying to find the guy to get him on the show. They're probably going to ignore us because they don't know who we are. But you know how they know who we are? You guys share. You guys spread the word. You guys tell them who we are. And when they hear from you who we are, they'll start coming on this show. So we appreciate that. Do all the things, share all the things, like all the things, etc., so on. This continues. Here we go. You continue asking these questions to the entity that you're at Skinwalker Ranch. Do you need information? Do you need to leave here? Are you aware of other intelligences on the property? If so, are they human? Are they from another planet? Can you help us contact them? Have you seen flying machines near here? Who is flying the machines? Where, like, right? Come on, Ash. You quit this job 20 minutes ago, right? What is this shit? Yeah. I don't know if you're there. I'm going to keep reading. All right. So who are flying the machines? What do they want? Have you seen the cattle die on this property? Right? Cattle mutilations. Have you seen the cattle die on this property? How did the cattle die? Who made the cattle die? Why did they make the cattle die? Can you help me increase my energy? Can you move a piece of paper? Can you move a cornflake or another light object? You're supposed to bring that with you. Can you move one of these colored jacks? Can you help me move objects? If I gave you a keyboard, could you type messages? You follow me, Ash? You still there, buddy? What the is going on with this? Okay, so this is, again, Skinwalker Ranch, Bigelow Aerospace. They hired this guy, Chris Marks, and he's got another whistleblower with him that can confirm some of this stuff. They've got a trove of documents that they're going to release that was their research when they were on the ranch doing these things. That was an EVP session. That was literally a guy there being paid, given instructions to go out into particular areas, GPS coordinates he was given, and to go record and then ask these questions to the air, to an entity that was invisible, to something that has lived there for who knows how long. Are you still with me, Ash, or did you bounce? Either way is fine, my man. Testing 1, 2. He's still there. Let me see. Oh, he's gone. What the? Did you leave? Or are you still there? You're back.
Yeah, you know.
I was talking to nobody. All right. Anyway, here we go.
I was listening. No. Okay, so you know how like interns take shitty jobs? It's like, oh, you need to pee in this and get some blood. This is like the ultimate shitty intern job. It's like where you're cashing out on your like youthful ignorance. This is some fuck all this. Every question there, like every 3 questions, I'm like, wait a minute, like, are we dealing with ghosts, aliens? Why am I dealing with all of the things? Like every
it's all of the things. It's all the things. No. It's like, are you a poltergeist? Did you die here? Are you from another planet? Are you from another dimension? Can you help me like increase my energy? Yeah, exactly, right? Like, why am I like? First, I get an interview. Ugh. I don't know what the hell's going on. You send me this ranch, you give me these instructions, and I'm looking for UFOs? Am I looking for ghosts? Am I looking for interdimensionals? Am I looking for little people that live under the earth? I don't even know what the hell I'm looking for. This is absurd, man. And so I'm telling you, the guy has insane, like I said, I'm going to try and get him on the show. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can reach him. If we don't,
guys, like us, spread the message.
Exactly.
We can get more, we'll it helps us with our influence. I got some people and things I'd like to get on the show, and when you're smaller potatoes, it's hard to do that. But as we grow, I have some ideas just from my end of some really cool commitments we could do, and I know Mike has a ton of ideas too. And so it'd be sick to get this guy on. What the hell?
There you go.
This job.
This is crazy, right? This is crazy. So, okay. So, let's see. Johnson says, I still have no idea what the topic is. All right. So we started with gun control in Virginia after the news. and then we did aliens and, the DNA and maybe transhumanism. And we did, why are they here? And now we're on to Skinwalker Ranch. Now, in brief, there was a couple gentlemen hired that are now whistleblowers about Skinwalker Ranch. They were hired through Bigelow Aerospace. Bob Bigelow, everybody knows the guy if you're into ufology at all. And then they were sent, and this is a list of things they were sent to do. This is one piece of paper. And so they were sent to do EVP sessions, electronic voice phenomena sessions, at particular GPS points on this Skinwalker Ranch. And these are the questions they were told to ask, right? And so, again, who's flying the machines? Have you seen the machines? They're asking this to the air with these recorders running. And they're supposed to check the batteries every couple minutes in case they instantly get drained. They're supposed to have multiple voice recorders on hand in case they just instantly die and are no longer functional. Like there's some serious shit going down here, right? And so here's the thing, right? So here's the spoiler alert. Should I drop the spoiler, or should we save this for another time? I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer, but basically what the one individual, Chris Marks anyway, is saying, the first whistleblower, there's a second one that kind of corroborates what he's talking about, but he says that he thinks that whatever's happening there is some sort of man-made phenomena, that we're able to somehow do these things, these poltergeist things, or these alien things, or these shape-changing wolf things, or maybe they're holograms, or maybe they're not, and he thinks that instead of him there studying these things, he thinks he was hired and sent there so they could study him with the way he reacts to these things. How about that, Ash? Does that fucking bend your mind? That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying, yeah.
This is like a propaganda test or something. What do you call it? Psychological warfare, and they're trying to see like which thing do you think it is? There's some crazy stories. So they have him go out, they have him meditate in particular areas, they have him do these EVP sessions, they have him do Ouija boards, like they're doing this occult shit. Like there's actual thing, yeah, just like that. He says he's got all the documents, he's got thousands of pages, he's got almost 1,000 photographs, he's got all his things written up, his reports he did. It's coming out, he says. It's coming out. So I don't know if he's like what the wait is, if it takes time to put it out, but it's coming. We'll keep an eye on this. And like I said, I'll try and get the guy on the show. Again, if you want to help us get that, like Ash said, he's completely right. If we get the reach, if you guys spread the word enough, we get people's attention. When we get people's attention, people are like, hey, we want to be on that show. That's it. So it's as simple as that. You guys spread the word and we can hopefully get these guys on the show. But what the F, right? What is going on with this? Seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but this is nuts. You know what? My favorite Skinwalker Ranch story is there's this. So the guy went around and he asked a bunch of locals like about Skinwalker Ranch when he made the book or the movie or whatever. And oh god, I love this one. So they're the sheriffs were in the car, two guys, and they're driving down the road. So there's two of them. So both guys saw this, and they're driving along this like back road or whatever. And it's like bumpy, so they're going slow. And they see these two guys in like trench coats smoking on the side of the road. And they go, hey, what are you guys up to? And they turn around and they're freaking like dog people, like Scruff McGruff.
Dog man.
And then, and then they're like, oh, and then they just disappear. And the officers were like, what the hell did we just see? And they walk over and the cigarette is still there. What the hell? That's he said that he didn't include those stories in there because they're so nuts. It doesn't make sense. It would destroy the credibility of the whole argument. So yeah, what the hell? Yeah, crazy.
So there's more here again, and there's more really, really freaky, compelling stories the guy tells. Like I won't. I'm not going to spoil them. We'll if we can't get them on, we'll clip it right. We'll get some different audio sources, and we'll do this the right way. But I kind of wanted to point this out if you guys hadn't seen it. Like holy shit, we'll link the appropriate podcast if you guys want a spoiler alert before we get there, because it takes some work to put it all together and see if we can get a guy in the show and all this. But sure. It'll be there if you want to check it out. But holy shit, there's some stories this guy tells that it makes the hair stand up on your neck and you're not even there. It's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Here we go. We got some good comments. John on Facebook says, I was on Skinwalker Ranch when one of the entities approached me and asked me if I could borrow about Tree Fitty. I said, no, not today, Loch Ness Monster. There we go.
I had to mute myself because I laughed.
That's fine. You can laugh. You're allowed. You're allowed to laugh. Okay. Christian says the Navajo reservation. I got some info for this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And it's very scary. Back roads. I could be driving the same experience I had. So yeah. Okay. All right. So we're at the end of this, but that's it. We got the Skinwalker. We jammed it all in. There's more Skinwalker we could talk about. We could do another hour on Skinwalker, but we'll do this another time when we've prepared this and we can go through some of these stories and actually hear them in the words of these whistleblowers, because they've actually gone on these podcasts and they've talked about these things. Ghost wolves, werewolves. I heard you there, Aaron. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate that, guys. But who knows? Like I said, tunnels of light, people crawling through wormholes, bright lights in the sky, shape-shifting whatevers, entities where you're doing EVP recordings. Exactly. Like suddenly you're not just looking for UFOs or ghosts or poltergeists or shapeshifters or werewolves, or you're looking for all of it. And they hired you to do it. What the hell?
Crazy shit. That one where there's like a hole opens up, it's like tall, dark entity like claws its way from another dimension into ours.
Exactly.
And then like takes off in the woods. there's so much nope about that fucking ranch. There's, it's, I'm not gonna. If we ever get to like 1 million subscribers or some shit like that, maybe we should set like metrics, and I'll go live stream from there. I'll try and sneak on or something.
Yeah, hell yeah, I'll be there with you. I'll be there with you, man. Well, like that's the thing, right? You spread the word. You spread the word. We'll bribe the guards. We'll get on Skinwalker Ranch. Anyway, so here we go. A couple more things to read. We're done. This is done for tonight. This is the thing, right? This is Troubled Minds Radio. You hear, like we started with the terrestrial. We did gun control in Virginia, right? We did that whatever that was. Then we went to aliens from God knows where, from dimensions or galaxies not from here, and DNA and transhumanism and what the hell are they here for, right? There you go. That's what we talked about tonight. And then to top it off, cherry on top, what is this? Skinwalker Ranch. Like this guy was hired to go investigate all of it. Werewolves, vampires, ghosts, goblins, ghouls, aliens, you name it. If it's Halloween and it exists, they sent this guy, they paid him to go investigate this. And his suspicion is they paid him to go investigate him and see how he reacted to this man-made phenomenon in his opinion. So anyway, we'll continue with that at another time because there's a lot to get into there, but that's it. That's it. We're at the end here. We appreciate you guys hanging out. Anything to spit before we leave, Ash?
I just want to share my theory on Skinwalker Ranch based on reading about it, and then that's it's real quick basically. But
fire it off. Buddy.
So when they moved into the ranch, they bought the new property. There was all these stipulations, right? And so I suspect that these people were test subjects. From the triangle craft sitting there looking in, the entities messing with them, and some of the rules were they were not allowed to dig. And there was a sort of humming underground, right? And so I suspect that there was a government base underneath this poor SOB's farm. And they were basically doing some sort of multi-dimensional experiment, just screwing with the fabric of space-time or whatever. And they basically opened up the dimensions and created all and like allowed this phenomenon to happen. And that there was a base underground, like doing this. And that's why the military was so interested, and that's why there's so much study of this. And it allowed these kind of entities move through back and forth, and potentially maybe this spot was like a good spot for that, right? Like maybe there was already some sort of weakness in the field, or there's like a portal area or something like that, and that the military moved in and they jacked that shit up, and then they're like, ooh, now what's gonna happen? And all this crazy stuff did happen, and there were points where these
continues to happen.
Exactly. Right. And so Bigelow must be in on it. He's got to be in on it, because there was like orbs of light that moved around. And didn't he, when Tom DeLonge came out with a round of footage, he was like, this is our contribution. This is like the Bigelow airspace. They showed a video with like an orb moving around inside like somewhere. Like it seemed like a secret bunker or something. So maybe they're like on to the whole soul stuff. It all connects, right? Everything we talked about tonight, especially the guns now.
Especially the guns.
It all connects. There's some sort of small soul or another dimension.
We got some weird synchronicity.
It's crazy. So
it's crazy.
Anyway, what do you guys think about that theory? Let us know if you think if we're onto it, or maybe we're off, or maybe you guys have some inside information. But before we go, I want to say thank you, Kelly, for calling in. Please, guys, call in. We love getting your input. Guys, I started by just calling in on the show, and I was nervous about it, and Mike walked me through, and it went pretty well. Hopefully, maybe.
So far, so good, buddy. So far, so good. And that's the thing, right? We do it live for that reason, because we never would have met Ash or Kelly or Todd or Joe or Sean from Canada, or there's so many Dan from SoCal. There's so many smart people that have called on this show. If I forgot you, forgive me. There's so many of you. But this is the thing. This is why we do it live, to include you, to read the chat, to have you guys call in so we can actually crowdsource this and talk about these things, because it's impossible to know it all. And that's it. That's what this is all about. If you want to be on the show, it's an open invite to every single one of you. and that stands. All right. We just have to coordinate it. We have to get it right. Join the Discord. Go to troubledminds.org, click the Discord link, get in there and send me a message. Hey, Mike, I want to be on the show. I have these things I want to talk about. We'll set it up. If you're like, hey, I want to talk about abduction phenomena, Ash and I will prepare some things that will flesh out your story and give it some background, and then we'll talk about your story. That's it. Open invitation to all of you. So this is our show. This is not my show. This is not Ash's show. This is our show. Okay? So that's what we're here doing, why we do it live. Please join the Discord. Please spread the word. It helps a tremendous amount. You have no idea. We're growing, and it's starting to grow quicker, and I think that's because of you. That's because of you guys, and we appreciate that a lot. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for sticking around, and that's the end. So here we go. We're playing the outro music, and we're doing this. And so, of course, at the end, you're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Yeah, we get to play the music.
Do it to it, man.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Aaron, for the music. This is amazing. I'm your host, Michael Strange.
I'm your co-host, Ash, the reptilian from Mars.
Ash, the reptilian from Mars. There you go. And we do this twice a week, Tuesday and Friday. We bumped it now to 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern, and that's what's up. So we're going to take Friday off because I'm traveling. We'll be back on Tuesday, 1 week from tonight. But in the meantime, if you're new and you're like, what the hell is this? This show's amazing. Or maybe I need to hear more. This show's all right. Go to troubleminds.org, and we've got all the archives for you. Hundreds of shows. Go check out the YouTube. There's not double hundreds, but there's single hundreds of shows. And you can check it out, and you can follow us, and you can do the things and spread the word. And yeah, go back and look at the one on Skinwalker Ranch, because that'll prep you from when we do the new one on the Skinwalker Ranch, because we're about to. It's coming. In the next month or 6 weeks, we'll definitely line that up if we can get Chris Marks on the show. If not, we'll do it anyway. So there we go. At the end of this, one more time, Michael Strange here with Ash the Reptilian. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Appreciate it a lot. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for all the input. Thanks for the calls. From our Troubled Minds to yours. Have a great night.
Goodbye, y'all.